Everywhere Hillary Clinton has gone. No, you know what? Let's do the Clinton team, Bill and Hillary. It's always a problem. Bill Clinton smiles at black people and destroys their lives. I gotta admit, Bill Clinton locked up so many black people for profit. Yeah, he helped the country, but he went out of his way to remix the Patriot Act, and crime bill. Things just got worse. His crime bill didn't solve anything. Well, Hillary Clinton, let's start with Egypt. Black people in Egypt. You got about 190 or 100 college students protesting the leadership at that time. Black people and Arab people in pretty much harmony. You have some incursions here and there, and that was the point of the college students. But here comes Hillary Clinton. We have to remove the Egypt leadership simply because he was a brown skinned, dark person. But they put him there. They the ones that put him there years ago. Before Clinton, he's been there for a while. But Clinton said we have to create a war and remove him. We need democracy. Okay? Hillary Clinton spends all of your tax dollars to remove a guy, right? Now I want you to follow this with me. Spends all of your tax dollars to remove a guy, has a fair election, and they elect a worse guy. Muslim Brotherhood. Then, because it wasn't the outcome Hillary Clinton wanted, she wanted to go back in and get him removed. Can't do that because you just removed the last black guy. So we have another election. Muslim Brotherhood gets voted in again. See, what she didn't count on was wait a minute, these people are sticking together. Now, when the Muslim Brotherhood came to power, what's the first thing they did? Hunt down those 90 college students. Most of them are dead now. All Hillary Clinton had to do was leave it alone. Then Hillary Clinton says, you know what? It's only been 6 months. Let me go over here to Libya, right next door to Egypt, and let me get rid of the Africans over there. Let me create a war. JD, that has not been determined yet. Fox News is the only one who said that. So that has not been determined yet. And sometimes Fox News says stuff to scare people. And so and that doesn't really mean anything. But if she does, I'd rather vote for Trump again. There's anything Hillary touches is destroyed. So so let's go with this again. So Hillary Clinton goes over to Libya and she says, I'm gonna hunt down the black people over there. And I'm gonna get rid of the black leader, making it safe for Africans. Because you gotta remember, Libya is in Africa. Libya is the home of Hercules. Many of you guys didn't know Hercules came out of Libya. Yes, Yogi Fish, that would be scary. That would be scary. And I'd rather put Trump back in again, Yogi Fish, because I would want Trump to deal with his his 2022 recession. Because I guarantee Yogi Fish, there will be a recession 2022. He's made everything too top heavy, and we have a hollow egg in the middle. So with the deficit and debt being this high, and with that tax for the 1% lasting 6 years total, you're going to have a 2022 deficit. That's just what it is. I mean, a 2022 recession. They're going to try to blame the next president, whoever it is, but it's really Trump's creation, this recession that'll happen in 2022. So anyway, Hillary Clinton is so evil. She goes over to Libya. I'm going to remove the black structure there. And you can see her in pictures helping Arabs who are not originally from Africa. They're over the sea, and they're coming in. They're the scrags of Syria, the people without a real home. They come over and they start taking over Libya. But Hillary Clinton says, it's only been a year and a half. She did all this in 2 years. It's only been a year and a half. Let me go to Syria and create another war. So in 2 years before she left, this woman created 3 wars against black people. Not against Arabs, not against white folks, black people. When she was Secretary of State in New York, did you hear her speak on behalf of any black issues that were going on in New York? Did you hear her speak on one black issue that was going on in New York? No. Hillary Clinton is poison, and anything she touches, I will not support. I just don't see the point, because Hillary, just because people smile doesn't mean anything. Obama for a third term. Hey, you know what? If Obama goes for a third term, I'm going to fight tooth and nail to be part of speaking with him every week. Just because he needs somebody to champion the stuff he's done. Trump has a third term locked up. Hey, I don't deny that, King Sigma. It's leaning toward that way. It's leaning toward that way because we don't have a third party like Parliament does in England. Then we don't have a third option. I wouldn't mind seeing Tom Steyer. I personally think Tom Steyer should be the running mate of Bloomberg. I've said that a couple of times. Because the whole point of a running mate is to be able to deal with the House. That's the whole point of a vice president. Hey, what's up, Green Machine? Second term. Yes, I knew what you meant, King Sigma. Here's the thing with Hillary. Hillary is trying to stay relevant. Hillary is trying to. Everything that happened with Debbie Wasserman Schultz was shady, illegal on so many levels. But that just shows you how dirty Hillary is. Hillary negates everything that black people are trying to do. She talks to black people, but she doesn't talk with black people. She has the appearance of talking with black people. I would rather see any other woman. I would rather see the woman from Alaska be president before I see a Hillary Clinton. Only because politically, I know she would help to destroy black people. She would carry on Bill Clinton's legacy of trying to destroy black people. She would smile the whole time. She would smile the whole time. Her policies, her anti-black stance, and what's so sad when she goes and sit down with people like Charlemagne, who are not well versed on policy and not able to ask her very tough questions, it just defeats the purpose of having a black face if you're not able to dive deep into your journalistic understanding and ask real questions. Cardi B sitting down with Bernie, that means nothing. You need Chuck D from Public Enemy. Matter of fact, that would be a great thing if the black male community would bankroll Chuck D. Yeah, Sarah Palin. I'd rather see Sarah Palin than Hillary Clinton be president. I'm serious. If we gotta have, if the whole thing is, hey, you don't want a woman. Oh yes, I do. I don't mind a woman. I'll take Sarah Palin before I take Hillary Clinton. You'll take Sarah Palin? Yes. Yes. Get out in front of my black people and ask them to vote for her over Hillary Clinton? Hell yes. I will take a tree stump. I will take a frog over Hillary Clinton. I will take a laughing hyena over Hillary Clinton. It's not that I don't like women as president. Hillary Clinton's just terrible for my people. I don't have to like or dislike people personally. I don't get into that. I'm all about what's going to help the black sons, because whatever helps the black sons helps everybody else in the black community. If I help a black woman, %90 of black women are just going to turn around and help other women. They're not going to think about the children. They're going to think only about the daughters. They're not going to think about the community. They're going to think only about the women. The unfortunate thing, and I've had this debate with a couple of black women in politics, the problem is when you look at most black women in power, they will help a white woman before they help their own black son. It's the craziest phenomenon that Massa from the plantation has done to us. It's really crazy. But aside from that, Hillary Clinton, let's just stick to what it is. Hillary Clinton, Libya, Egypt, Syria, everywhere she goes is death. You can't tell me one thing she did while she was in New York, representing New York. You can't tell me one thing she did for black people. Name one thing she spoke on for black people. Nothing. You don't even know what her whole time as representative of New York was about. Do you think Bernie Sanders would be the one of the Democrats to run against Trump? It doesn't. You know what? Here's the thing. I'm only Jeremy. I'm a black first independent voter. I'm B5. And I was the only person on this YouTube talking about black first. Now everybody want to talk B1. You're just copying what I created, but that's cool. The thing is, which with your question, how black first is Bernie? Well, I looked at several pages of what he's putting forward. When you say end racism, what does that mean for black people? What does that mean? Does that mean you're going to make a policy when it comes to employment? Is that what that means? I mean, what does it mean? So, you know, when Bernie says these things, he needs to be more detailed to the black community. The only thing I like about Bloomberg is that he gets up here and he says directly to the black community, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. We need to see action. We need to see how this plays out. But do you know this dude is the first person in history, political history, to ever do that to black people? But okay. To be fair, he got one for Latinos too. So sometimes when I hear people say what they don't like in politics, my question is, okay, what do you like? Well, none of it gonna work. Okay, so let me stop talking to you because clearly you're not trying to be strategic. I want to hear from strategic black men. I want to hear black men who are willing to tie up the devil and pimp him out with some high heels on and make him do what the black man needs for him to do. I want some warriors who are ready to go down into hell, not care about their own lives, pimp slap the devil, because the devil is only what, 2 feet? No, no, a foot and a half. The devil, the size of the devil is only a foot and a half, according to the Bible. So I just want some people to not be scared when they see gnashing teeth and look like you're about to die. And just be real warriors and go down and tie up the devil, pimp slap him a couple of times. Because it's just like part two of the movie It. The devil ain't really as scary as you might think. Um, and that's what I would want people to do. I mean, we're kings. We're supposed to be. At least I am. That's how my father made me. He made me how I am. Uh, so when it comes to Bernie Sanders, Jeremy, he has to be bold enough to speak to the black sons. King Sigma says DNC, Obama, and Clinton will burn down the Democratic Party before allowing Bernie to get. Obama's not really in power like other presidents. It's a very funny thing. Obama's doing the whole Jimmy Carter thing. Obama is not throwing his political weight around like Bill Clinton. And that's part of the problem too, because he needs to push Clinton out of the picture and take command. Part of Obama's problem, King Sigma, is that he never really took command. He went and did things he thought the system wanted him to do. He did take command on what he thought the policy should be. But during the time that Clinton was there with him as Secretary of State, he kind of allowed Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton to exist so he could learn from them. That was very dangerous. You could have went to John Kerry and learned better from him. I wouldn't have did that. And in actuality, I told my friend who was close to Obama back then, I said, dude, you just tell dude to have John Kerry as his running mate. And then this dude chose Biden. I was like, Biden can't do nothing on his own. And Biden has proven that this year. He never can do nothing on his own. He can only do it through other people. So to answer your question, Jeremy, that's my problem with Bernie. He never does nothing on his own. He always jumps on somebody else's situation. I had a conversation with a white guy from Boston the other day about Bernie Sanders, and he said, "What are you talking about, Mr. Research? Bernie was the primary on this bill, blah, blah, blah." I said, sir, a primary does not mean you created it. A primary does not, you can be primary on a bill, but that doesn't mean you created it. You're still an add on. Because, people try to make the little, go do some research, Mr. Research. No, you're taking primary literally. No, that's not what it means. So you got to know politics to know that primary does not mean you created it. Or if you were co-writer, it would say co-writer. If you were the creator, it would say author of the bill. King Sigma knows this. He's close to politics. King Sigma says the DNC Clinton will try to burn stuff down, but Clinton's time has passed, man. And people just need to realize it. Explain the EEOC plan you were talking about last night. So, black men need to get behind EEOC enforcement. So, The problem with black men, just because you can get a job right now as an individual, what you're not realizing it is people outside of black men are hiring by the group, meaning that if you're Filipino, I'm going to try to make this a Filipino department, but I'm going to be quiet about it. That's against hiring practices, but everybody closes their eye to it as long as ain't nobody complaining. King Sigma, the number one complainer of unfair human resource practices is black men. We file we file EEOC complaints the most. It's been going that way ever since Ronald Reagan took office. So we are disenfranchised the most. The reason why so many guys are happy to work trade jobs is because every time they try to advance like I have advanced, they are shot down. And internally, you don't know what happened. Internally, they'll go and hire somebody with no qualifications and give them on the job training and tell you, you know what, this will be an interesting show. Let me bring a couple of you guys in here. I see BMT here, King Sigma. This will be real interesting for the people. So let me stop what I'm talking about and really dig into this EEOC thing. See if Yogi can get in here too, but whoever wants to come. All right, so whoever wants to come up. So we're talking about the EEOC. This is I've switched the Hillary thing. Now we're on the EEOC. So black men are the number one complainants. And part of the reason why we have so many legal troubles, whether it be child support, King Sigma, whether it be stop and frisk, is because you're not lawyer type. You don't have that extra disposable $3,000 that it costs to retain a lawyer. You don't have that stuff ready. And if you were able to get jobs as easy as the blue-eyed white man is able to get jobs, many a times he don't have to be qualified. He just shows up with his blue eyes. I've literally seen this happen over at least 20 times in my career, where people don't know nothing and they just walk up and get high priced jobs over 60,000. And you like, what the hell? You don't even know how to transfer the phone. And they gave you a $70,000 job. but it started dawning on me the power of people with sparkling blue eyes. They don't have to be qualified, because some people just want to see that type of person win. And once you understand the strategic of that, then you'll understand why EEOC funding and enforcement is the black man's number one concern. See, the black man think vagina is his number one concern. Dating, no, it's not. It's really EEOC. Shout out to Green Machine. He said facts. I know all too many jobs like that. BMT, share the microphone, sir. What are your thoughts?
We got to be realistic right now. Right now, majority of players are checking out, especially when it comes to politics, about doggone, yo, am I going to be able to get into the workforce? Are my people going to be able to get in? Like, if I can get in and have access, or if I can have quality, access towards, insurances and policies, and know that I'm protected, then yeah, I'm in. And what we're seeing is that I'm watching majority of these men, especially on these spaces, talk about women and Pookie and Brad and all this crap. And I'm like, wait a second, dude. Here we're looking at the elections are going on. And y'all are more so focused on doggone what women are doing. But then the women are the ones, and as well as everybody else, is the ones looking to push EEOC for them. Y'all ain't talking about that. But see, that's the thing about it. They think that their penis is power, not the man who controls the write-up slip on whether you have a job or not, or whether he want to deal with you, or you know what, I don't have to hire you. I already hired an African that looks like you, so I don't have to deal with you. So
30 seconds.
So when you start seeing these kind of talking points on some of these people, you start saying like, yo, dude, you don't care about me or power. This is why when some people they don't know how to like take away from doggone power versus doggone sexual desire.
Right. You know what? We got a special appearance by Green Machine, the GOAT. Green Machine. Man, thank you for giving us your presence, man. Let's hear from your mind, brother. I'm open to learn. Talk to me.
Well, what you're saying is 100% correct. I mean, I've been out of the workforce for about a year and a half, and technically on the books in the workforce for a year and a half, and I've been going on several different interviews or whatever the case may be, and more often than not, like you said, there's specific groups of male individuals who work in these jobs, like i.e. like right now I'm driving a tractor trailer and I'm going in and out of these cold storage facilities, and the majority of those places are ran by Hispanics from the middle management on down. And it's like, wow, now I see why they winning.
No. Now you see why Mr. Research says Latin supremacy is coming.
Oh yes, 100%. I can't deny that, as well as Asian supremacy also.
Now, I will say the Asians will not have that because the Asians are not concerned with that. The Asians are a family-minded people, so the only thing they're concerned about is owning as many houses as possible. They're not concerned about acquiring power over industry. You may have one or two enclaves that do that, but if an Asian person can go get a regular, quiet secretary job or what have you, and just be able to go to their family and create babies, they're happy. They're not really into that industrial. That's why you hardly see them run for anything. I was surprised to see Yang. Let's move the mic. Go ahead and finish up a Green Machine to GOAT, and we're gonna move the microphones around. Go ahead. So we got an all-star cast here.
I mean, basically, just listening to you, I never really even thought about being a manager, let alone trying to figure out the first steps to become a manager. And ever since then, it just kind of made me rethink what I've been doing out here as far as work. Like I said, I drove truck, I ran warehouses, and right now I'm back in school. I'm trying to get some education so I can get into the engineering field. But man, it's crazy how it works, and that's all.
Absolutely. And I want to say to you directly before we go to King Sigma, my adopted prince. Green Machine, you got to remember this. There's a book called Strategic Planning for Dummies. It is one of the best open your mind management thinking books you will ever get. And you can get it off eBay for $3. Also, as far as management is concerned, I always tell people, go get any type of assistant manager under your belt for at least 3 months. Okay. You get an assistant manager under your belt title. They ask you, why did you leave? You'll say, oh, I had a family concern, or you'll say, upper management was treating my employees unfairly, and I didn't want to be a part of that. I want to see a better opportunity. Nobody can take your management from you now. It's on your resume forever, even though it was only 3 months. What the new employer is thinking, I don't have to retrain them on the concepts of management. So always look at this 3 months as an assistant manager as college, free college. See, Mr. Research is very strategic. So when you go, your job is not to do the job in that 3 months. Your job is to get every little piece of information, every book that's lying around, every book in the garbage that's been sitting on the shelf collecting dust, and you are to learn the concepts of management better than your current boss, so that when you leave with that knowledge base. Now I can hire you for easier stuff. That's how I did it. I did it for like 2 months, and I mastered the concepts and the systems. And then I went to the next employer and I knew it better than them. And then my money just doubled by 20,000 instantly.
Wow,
So
that's profound.
like I said, I say things on here to help y'all win on Monday. Monday's coming around. Y'all want to win. So it's all about, it ain't about theories. We do a lot of theories on Black YouTube. I talk applications. What can apply? And I'm sorry, I got to move these mics. King Sigma, you heard some of the things that were being said about Hillary Clinton, about EEOC. You raised that question. BMT, we're going to come to you next. What are your thoughts, my adopted prince?
Hey, thanks for having me on Mr. Research. I just want to ask you a quick question about that.
This is Mr. Research the second. So once I'm gone, he will carry this thing on. Go ahead, sir.
You were mentioning the HR thing. I just want to ask a quick question real quick, because I did a show this morning and I was talking about a situation where a former Army medic, white guy, had been convicted of child pornography, child sexual assault, and some other crimes, and he was kicked out of the Army, but he ended up hiring his Black mistress to kill his wife. Now, this dude was working in an Army hospital out there in Hawaii, even after he had been convicted of child pornography and assault. Have you ever heard of your case? Because I know I've never heard of a Black dude.
So here's a question: who convicted him? Was it the military or was it the private sector?
Private sector and the military. He had 3 cases.
No. It got to be one of the two. So you're saying the military convicted him, and then he had another case in regular world?
He had multiple cases over like a 10-year period. He was going to get 10 years in private prison at the state level, but he cut a deal and got probation. Another case got him kicked out. So another case got him kicked out of the military. So he was dishonorably discharged. He was demoted from sergeant to private. But somehow, even with this criminal record, he was able to work in a Hawaii hospital as a health specialist. Then he just got convicted, obviously, this week of having his Black mistress kill his white wife. But it's like, I'm listening to you talk about the HR thing. I'm thinking to myself, like, I've never heard of a Black dude that has any kind of assault, even if it was a fist fight with another man, being able to work in the hospital. This dude has child pornography, child assault, and he has 10 years probation and all this stuff on his record, all felonies. But somehow, this dude has been working in a Hawaii hospital in an emergency room.
Okay, I'm going to explain it. Okay, I'm going to explain it, here's how it goes. Black people like to think as individuals. White folks think as a group. So even though this person did XYZ, it's the same thing Secretary of State Barr is doing in the Flynn case right now.
Very well put.
Right now. I'm going to protect my buddies, King Sigma. I'm gonna put my career and my reputation on a lifeline because King Sigma saved me in that war that time. I'm gonna sit up here and put my career on the lifeline because Green Machine pulled me out of a ditch that one time. I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna walk away tarnished, but I'm still gonna have money. Still going to have my family. See, every other person works in groups. So the reason he's able to do that, the reason a lot of your school teachers are able to molest children and get a slap on the wrist. Yes, Black people can't do it because Black people think like individuals. You see, when an African person does the exact same thing you said, guess what? 50% of African people have money. They're going to pull their oboe brother out of the situation or minimize his stuff, just like bar your current attorney general.
So you're saying that in your experience, you've never seen that either. A black man with that kind of criminal record working in a hospital, you've never seen it, right?
I have seen a black man as a doctor have a former rape case that ended up coming out. I also saw a white man at Grady Hospital, used to see him every day, with full-blown AIDS, putting his hand in people's bodies. And majority of the higher-ups knew about it because he was a hell of a manager as a doctor. I mean, he managed the ED. That when they let him go, Grady suffered and went back down the crap. So that's why they let him ride. So I have seen a black guy with a rape case. Matter of fact, there was a black guy in Oakland. He was a plastic surgeon. He was African. They just kicked him out of here. They were coming for him, and he just suddenly bowed out and bounced back to Africa with all his money. He been a plastic surgeon for years. So my point is that I have seen black faces, but they've been connected black faces. Does that make sense?
Because see, in the Midwest, like their laws are so much stricter because like if you got a felony, any kind of violence, you're a black dude out here, oh, you're not getting no corporate job, you're not getting no healthcare job. That's true. It's just not gonna happen. But anyways, I wanted to throw that patch because you're in Cali and I know you worked in the health industry and that story just threw me off. But so with the whole Hillary thing and the Bloomberg and the EEOC, one of the things that I was thinking when I was listening to you, the problem with the EEOC, I feel like you're leaving out the other side of the equation. Like from a political standpoint, and if you're just looking at, well, if we put Bloomberg in there and we get him to start the EEOC, but then we forgot to consider the role of the judges in this in 2020. See, the problem with the EEOC thing that the way that Bloomberg would have to do it, he would actually have to issue an executive order. And we know that executive orders are not real law, and they can be overturned by the next president, or they can be overruled by the sitting Congress. The problem that I had with the EEOC thing is that we had that back in the 60s and 70s. We dropped the ball. Now what has happened, they've built up a whole judicial docket of anti-affirmative action policies, and they've spent the last 40 years or so of getting rid of affirmative action. And in many states, they don't even have it anymore. Even Seattle and in Washington up there, they just canceled their affirmative action program, and they're a liberal state. Now, here's another thing. President Trump.
30 seconds.
President Trump has already gotten 187 federal judges on the bench. No president in history.
No. Mitch McConnell did that. Mitch McConnell. But go ahead.
They confirmed it, but he still has to nominate. The president nominates and the Senate confirms. So that's what a president does. The president leads his party. The Senate passes the laws and they do the confirmation. He nominates, he fights for the policy, but they pass law. That's how a president works with his party. So he can't take one from the other, bro. They're together. The president leads his party.
All I'm saying is Mitch McConnell presented him the judges, and he therefore took credit for it. But let's not belabor that. But that is correct. You are correct too. But go ahead.
So I'm just saying, my last statement, so you can get a response, is that how do you take into consideration the fact that Trump has nominated more federal judges in 3 years than any president in history? He's already at 187. If he's elected again, they're already at 25%. He has a 25% of his people are on the bench already. If he gets another term, it could be 50%. And these are lifetime appointments. And he has 2 Supreme Court judges when you got 3 current Supreme Court judges over 85. So I'm just wondering how that fits in with what you're saying with EEOC. Well,
as far as EEOC, the judges don't make it to that level. The EEOC stuff is really state is the highest form of it. Because what happens with the process, maybe I need to say what the process is. The process with EEOC is that you have a government official that's going to immediately investigate your claim. The minute you as a black man put it in, the government official, hopefully he's not swamped with other cases, but he's going to go and send and investigate your claim. He's going to go down with a piece of paperwork from EEOC. He's going to say, hey, stop what you're doing. I need to see the file on King Sigma. Okay. I need to copy everything in here, and I need to interview King Sigma's manager his and his supervisor. I need statements right here, right now. He's going to do it by surprise. It's not going to be like I'm coming. No, that isn't how EEOC works. So once they come and do all that, and they do surprises purposely. How do I know this? I talked to Ryan Clark, white guy in Atlanta, and I talked to a sister out of DC. She's head of her EEOC thing. So that's my source. Just make sure everybody knows what my source is. And so they go in and they do that investigation. Then they come back to you and say, hey, look, we use the power of the government to get all this information. You have a valid case that you can go with. You don't have a valid case that you can go with. That's the strength of the EEOC, and they give you the evidence, and now it's up to you to take your $3,000 lawyer and open a case. Your case ultimately might take you into $10,000, $15,000 because you're fighting a company. But you have the power of the government findings, which is the whole point. And many people have been able to get thousands and millions of dollars from that. I'm gonna come back, King Sigma, because I know you got to follow up. You're my adopted prince. I know how you work. But let's get to BMT. Give him some of the microphone so we can get back to Green Machine, the GOAT. BMT.
Okay, so in hearing about that, first off, there's a lot of time I have to go pick on. So, yeah, actually, black men have done that before. In Mississippi, a black school teacher, knowingly who had known he had HIV, worked in one school system, raped a child, went to another school system right after that, and got in there and did the same thing.
But I think his point was in the Midwest where he knows.
Oh, okay. So you haven't seen that before. I'm about to say, like, trust me, there are some black men doing it. We just don't want to talk about those guys.
And there's some black women doing it.
Listen, that's a whole.
The woman that got caught, the grandmother that got caught having sex with her grandson. But right. Anyway, go ahead.
So, okay, so also you're correct what you said about the military. It is a quid pro quo where it's a life debt in which if you did something solid for me overseas, let's say I looked out for you when we was overseas. I come back here stateside. Let's say your father has access to state like farm or any kind of resource. I've seen brothers that literally say, BMT, I see what you're doing on there. Quit this crap right here. Come on the radio station with me. Or better, let me take you out to Texas or different other stuff. No. But dude, I never forgot what you did for me. It's a debt that certain organizations or certain affiliated brothers or people pay to each other. Black men, you don't have that system. You just don't. I ain't seen it yet. Because if you did, trust me, you would be literally maneuvering each other through certain resources of systems as you should. So whenever you get certain men,
wait. Let me just jump in. So BMT makes a great point, and I say this to Ramil, Yogi, Green Machine, King Sigma. This is what I've been shouting since 2007. If black men would hire black men, you would take over within 4 years. If black men would stop getting up to management level and pulling in Pookie is not a black man. Pookie is a black boy. Go find a black man from the suit and tie class or somebody that understands that level of the game. A Green Machine, he tractor trailer, but he wants to be a manager. Pull these type of diamonds in the rough into your system and stop trying to constantly help women. Because once a lot of women get in power, they forget about their own sons. And I'm not saying that to hate women. I'm saying that black men got to be strategic. If you pull black men in within 4 years, man, you wouldn't have a lot of these child support problems. You wouldn't have a lot of these EEOC because dudes would have the bankroll to compete.
Right.
Go ahead, BMT.
So in looking at that, let's look at it. The new mayor of Chicago, the female. Chicago not too long ago passed 2 different types of laws. I'm not sure a lot of people picked up on it. Now it's mandatory that a black woman, has to be on the leading chairman board of companies. You have to have an African American woman up there. You don't believe me?
Wait. I think you just gave King Sigma his next video. But go ahead. Go ahead. 30 seconds.
That's fine, but that's power building, because they helped her get into power. And she's like, I got y'all. I'm gonna make sure that I put my kings, queens, and bishops around me. Y'all keep me in office. Y'all fund me and fund what y'all want to see. And see, we don't power build like that. So for when black men, you gotta understand, you gotta start power building on certain things. Quit worrying about doggone the doggone sex game and all that stuff. Listen,
how about Hillary Clinton? Let's steer back to the topic. How about Hillary Clinton? And let's just pick one. How about Hillary Clinton in Egypt? How did that help black people?
Listen, not a damn. It literally helped them. It didn't help you. Egypt.
But BMT, the college students were complaining about the leadership at that time.
Yeah, I was over there when all that stuff went down. It ain't help you not a damn thing. Literally, the minute they removed the first power and they let them take over, everything went to crap within less than 1 week. They went into revolt, destroying, burning. They burned down majority of the markets and everything. That wasn't nothing that helped or propelled black men. If anything, that set you back and ventures going over to Egypt. I'm just saying, unless you of that faith or you roll with them like that, that's literally under a different jurisdiction. Y'all gotta understand.
I'm gonna come back to you, but just FYI for everybody, Lower Egypt has more dreadlocks and dark-skinned people than Washington, D.C. Lower Egypt, southern part of Egypt, has more dark-skinned people and dreadlocks, and they will tell you, "Oh no, we're African. We're Black African. We're not like them Arab people." Green Machine, talk to me, sir. Before I go to King Sigma, he's going to chew me out. Green Machine, what have you learned from what the brother said so far?
Well, at the end of the day, we need to get our act together. We need to support each other in our endeavors, and we need to start getting our young boys in the proper mind frame.
How can we do that if we're complaining about dating and women not bowing down to how can we do that if we're teaching boys not to play chess and Japanese Go? We just teaching them checkers. How are we gonna do that?
Well, first and foremost, a lot of people not gonna like what I'm gonna say, but we need to sit down somewhere and stop worried about having sex with these women, because these women are gonna be there. That's gonna come when you get that certain level of success. While you're building with your brothers, that's the most important thing. And I kind of find it funny that in these YouTube streets, individuals is pushing back against it and fighting it. But at the end of the day, both sides have valid points. For the individuals who have gotten to the point where they carve their own way or whatever the case may be, and they're able to hire other men and other individuals, yeah, at that point you can be thinking about a woman and a legacy and having children to pass that down to. But when you're like me in my current state, 30 years old, going to college for the first time, just to try to play catch up, I don't really have the time or the energy.
You're not worried about it,
right? And that's even with me being in a relationship for 7 years, and it's coming to the point now.
I'd rather for you to take $100, go to your local brothel, and get you something Italian for the night, or something Romanian for the night, or something Cambodian for the night, so you can clear your penis mind and go right back to making the money.
Right.
I mean, people don't understand, man. Power has no time for giving away power. And when we spend too much time talking about women, we are fulfilling Massive's dream. I'm gonna give you the mic back, but let me get on this soapbox real quick. We fulfill Massive's dream when we talk about women. because we're not taking something away from Massa strategically. We fulfill Massa's dream when we talk about the struggles of what these chicks do. Instead of getting $1 million from BMT, $1 million from Green Machine, $1 million from King Sigma, $1 million from Ramil, and we go into our local state, because we all live in, let's say, Kansas, and we go in and we bankroll the marketing for the candidate we want so we can go into the child support system and dominate it the way we want. And we have the guy that we got elected in there pull in people legally that we want serving this particular service, and we take it over. Know how I know this? Because I see Chinese do it all the time.
Can I say this real quick?
Go
Ramil asked a question. He said, what was that law? HR Bill 3394. Look it up. It's a bill that watered down corporate structures in Illinois, where they have to have a woman, mainly a minority woman, African-American woman, on boards, because they complained that Black women were not being put on boards. Literally, HR Bill 3394. Look it up.
So let's go back. Green Machine, go ahead and finish up, brother. You said you was learning all these things, and at 30, you realizing that you don't have time to be focused, but you understand both sides. I applaud you on that.
Well, yeah, 100%. I mean, there's a time and a place for both sides, and at the end of the day, no matter what these groups are, the acronyms or the names, there's something to be learned from all of them. And as the saying goes, you chew the meat and you spit out the bones.
Absolutely. Let me ask you this other question, Green Machine, before I go to King Sigma, because he's going to chew my head off. My thing is, as it relates to Hillary, she's been trying. And my thing is, it doesn't appear like it's for the people. It feels like it's some self-grandiose gratify, because every time she has been in power. Matter of fact, here's my question, Green Machine. What was the purpose of her being representative of New York State? Did you ever hear her talk about any Black concerns in New York?
No, she did not. At the end of the day, Hillary and Bill, they're all about building their empire and staying in power, and really to rock Black folks to sleep.
Let's go to King Sigma. King Sigma, you guys can have that HR conversation between each other on chat room, but let's take the time to use the audio to go back what you wanted to say earlier, King Sigma. Go ahead, my prince.
Yeah. So I listened to your Bloomberg spiel yesterday. I really appreciate it. I was out and about, and I enjoyed listening to it because you brought a different perspective. But the more I thought about the argument, I felt that you didn't take into consideration the opposition. And to get what you want, there's at least 3 levels that you got to get to. So you got
explain it to me. I'm open to learn.
So to get the kind of deal that you want to make with Bloomberg, we got to look at what is the reality of the judicial situation. Well, remember, there's been an attack on affirmative action for 30 years. And now that Trump has got the judges on the course that he wants, whatever you pass is going to have to get done. Let's say you get Bloomberg.
That's true. Everything comes down to the judges. You're absolutely right.
Look at this. All right. So let's say we get the deal that you want, Mr. Research. Get Bloomberg in there. Now, we already know that the Republicans got, they won seats in the last election in the U.S. Senate under Mitch McConnell, as we were talking about. He's their leader, and he doesn't play games. They're already predicting, based on the information that we got now, that they're going to even get more seats in the Senate, and they might take the House. So let's say you get a scenario. This is real world, where Bloomberg gets elected, but now he has a Republican Congress run by Mitch McConnell, who you already have spoken on. Now, the only way he can get the law passed would be by executive order. Now, executive orders are not real law. And with hold
on. Ladies and gentlemen, share this on your Facebook right now. This is Black men finally talking about real power. You have 4 Black men who understand how power works. Nobody's really doing this on Black YouTube as a collective. You go anytime you get a panel, you get maybe one or two people who's doing it, but you got four people having a very strategic conversation about politics, policy, and things of that nature. Go ahead, Prince.
All right. Yeah. So, you got a situation where an executive order is always going to be the weakest way. When a president has to pass an executive order, that means that it's not supported by the majority of the people. That's what an executive order is, to force the Congress to do its job in making the law, so it can't be easily overturned. So let's say Bloomberg does that. Now he issues that executive order. Mitch McConnell's going to come back and be like, hey, this isn't a good law. So what will happen? The Federalist Society, one of the most organized legal outfits in America for producing young lawyers and judges, they will find a case as soon as that comes up and they will sue. That case will
now, I'm gonna let you finish, but please throw in the variable. That's if Mitch McConnell is able to retain his seat.
And that's true.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So, but here's the thing: Mitch McConnell has been grooming a lot of a good bench down there in Kentucky. Remember, Mitch McConnell just got the first Black Attorney General for Kentucky elected. He's a young Black male in his 30s.
Yeah.
Okay.
True.
He groomed personally. So this is not a dumb dude, Mitch McConnell. So even if he loses, remember, his junior senator in Kentucky is Rand Paul. And he's like a very libertarian. He's not for any of the state sponsored stuff. You see what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is that when you look at the EEOC, it has to be able to hold up against the judicial restraint of federalist-minded textualists. But then also Bloomberg himself is not for EEOC. Bloomberg was sued in 2011 by women in his firm at Bloomberg LP. He won the case, but he is not for EEOC. Now, I get what you're saying. You're saying, I know he's not for it, but we're going to get him for it. Now, so you already got the judicial thing. Then you got to get over the fact that Bloomberg himself is not for affirmative action. And he's been sued a couple of times at his organizations. And he actually won against the people that brought suit for discrimination, gender, age, and racial. Then you also get the fact that for the last 40 years, the EEOC's budget has been cut by Democrats and Republicans down to the point now where to get the kind of action that you want, the budget's going to have to be at least $1 billion. Guess what? Over the last 2 decades, it's never been above $400 million. They have backlogs of cases, like 100,000 cases of backlog. So what I'm saying is that I think we're going to have to approach this a different way, is all I'm saying. I think if you're going to go for it, you need to go for straight cash and guarantees of cash, because anything that will be done in a racial way, the Federalist Society already has like a whole army of lawyers and judges ready to overturn it all. It has to be straight cash if it's going to be done racially. I'm sorry.
That's a very strategic point. I'm not going to deny any of those points. That's why I threw in the variable of if he's there. But you're absolutely right. There is another concept that you eloquently explained. Here I am from the hood having the opportunity to use the word eloquently. And yeah, that was well thought out. Actually proud of you on that one. That was well thought out. I got to move the microphone to BMT. Welcome to Man of Tomorrow. I'm gonna put you on mute for a minute because you got something playing in the background. BMT.
Yes.
You guys are making some good points, but let me start off a different line of questioning based on what he just said. Let's get your thought, and then we'll come to Green Machine, and then we'll go to MOT. BMT, let's take Bloomberg off the table.
Okay.
Let's take Trump off the table.
That's cool.
Who are Black people going to work with to get more power? Now, one argument for a lot of people, the individual argument of get it from yourself, be an entrepreneur. Yeah, that's good. And I'm not saying that can't happen, but but you leapfrog through government. You leapfrog through policy. So who are we going to leapfrog with if Trump is off the table and Bloomberg is off the table? I like these hard questions, don't you?
Yeah, they are.
Want me to come back to you?
No. Then okay, so we have Sanders is left. You have Biden. Shit, then you got to just go with Biden. Then you got to go with Biden.
Why Biden?
Because I mean, let's be for real. Through the Obama administration, the black farmers they won Glickman versus Pickford. They had they had that, and I mean that was literally a black group of farmers that won $1.25 billion worth of reparational funds towards their cause of building. Mind you, they were already building and selling produce and different stuff, and they moved silently. They didn't waste their time talking about policies and different stuff and marching and stuff. No, they played the game quietly. They strategized, got the lawyers that they needed, and kept going back.
What about Tom Steyer?
What about him? I mean, I mean, honestly, I mean, being for real, Wolf, you gotta go with the policies that you've seen things have actually worked with and built off of them. I'm not gonna try to do something differently if I know you did something and it did work, and literally I can build upon that or better it in my version. Because literally,
aside from that, what else did you want to say that you didn't get a chance to say?
No.
I gotta move these mics.
Okay,
more faster.
No, and like I said, like we got to start learning how to put people strategically in certain positions, like different groups and different women are doing. Like we see the Arabs, they put Ilhan Omar and that other female, they funded them. Now you see more people from their background are getting into politics, House representatives, different states and platforms. Black men, you don't really have that much because you ain't setting up the proper chains and to actually get people in these positions. You're more so you're worried about the wrong thing when we need to be worried about, yo, man, 2020, new players are going to start getting into I got you. New players are going to start getting on the board. So what you need to start focusing on is things that people are tangibly going to need. Insurance, health policies, care, builders of different other resources as teachers, infrastructure that actually are compatible for you that you can easily get within 2 years and actually produce something of a stock. I passed the mic.
Let's go back to let's be a little bit patient, Green Machine. Hold on 1 second. Man of Tomorrow. Go ahead, Man of Tomorrow. You got something beeping and Man of Tomorrow, MOT, sir.
Yeah, what's up, man?
Hey, sir. So how are you thinking about all this Hillary Clinton stuff, EEOC? What are your thoughts?
I think those are old systems that are not going to be able to work in the new system.
Wow, we have a new player, ladies and gentlemen. Go ahead, sir. So what are the new concepts?
Well, you have to understand that the Federalist Society nor the conservative movement ain't got shit to do with helping black people at all on no level, and it's never really happened in American society.
Oh, sorry.
Ever.
Hold on. I love when black men get together and talk power. This is actually exciting for me.
So he agreed with you.
Go ahead.
Wait. Let me finish. Let me finish. Like, you have to realize those Southern conservatives who used to be Democrats back in the day, they're now Republicans and they're still in the same place. So you have to realize white supremacy is in free fall. You got all that farmland down there not being tilled by anybody. You got immigrants who are coming over here, taking over the old farms of the farms that the actual whites used to let them work over. So they're taking over that stuff. So these old systems of affirmative action and all that kind of stuff, they can merely put a case before the court and take all that stuff away nationwide with what's going on right now. Judicially, with those judges. I mean, if they wanted to. I mean,
but you can never truly do it nationwide. But I understand the concept, what you're saying. I mean, everything is state by state. States have more power, but yeah, if you mess up and do what the gays have done and made their California thing nationwide, now it can be repealed nationwide. So I understand your backdoor point. Go ahead.
Yeah, so it's like this. We're trying to walk through the front door, trying to negotiate with these people without money and votes. Money and votes is how you get
I
stuff
thought
done.
voting don't matter. Ain't that what the young black people say?
I mean, that's what the older black people on YouTube also say, by the way.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. They sure enough do.
Yeah,
Go
so
ahead,
it's like
MLT, finish up.
so it's like this. You have to be able to show up, vote, and invest in your actual congressperson all over the state. That's all you have to do. It's not even that hard, man. It's just that you can't really coordinate things behind the scenes when you got so many undisciplined people. And this is why I'm just kind of getting away from certain types of people around here. You know what I'm saying? Because they're not for progress.
Mm.
Today
I
about
told you
trying to
that
get
when you first came to the O'Shea show, and I gave you that MOT title. I told you that's what it is. I said, MOT, you're going to find out a lot of these people are not trying to advance.
correct. And so now that I know that that's the case, it's time to start splitting these people into sections of people who are not going to change and people who have a chance to change and the people who are changing. So
30
that way
seconds, 30 seconds.
so that way we can be able to progress like we need to because these other groups of people already have their household intact. That's how come they can move as a group because they understand power dynamics and we clearly don't still. So you have to
Green
be able to move
Machine, the
yourself.
GOAT. Green Machine, the GOAT. Listen to all these all-star people, sir. Share, teach us, what are you thinking when you hear this stuff?
Well, first and foremost, shout out to MOT. And it's funny because MOT came on and kind of stole my thunder a little bit. But
Well, see, that's why I did that because we gotta have the most intelligent people be able to remix the game and come with another one. So he took it from you. Now you're gonna remix something else that's classic. Go ahead, go.
well, at the end of the day, I actually wrote a paper last semester about affirmative action, and in my eyes, it should be repealed at the end of the day because it hasn't really benefited us the way it's supposed to. I mean, it's
Have you
benefiting women.
considered what the regression of that would be? Meaning that if a sword, I'm gonna use a legal term, if a sword is taken away from the front of the palace simply because people are walking by and not fearing it as they should, have you considered by that taking that sword away now emboldens the people who live over the hill because they no longer see a symbolism that they have to respect?
Yeah, I have actually thought about that, but I've also thought about the other side of it. And with doing that, it will force us as a people to get off our butts, the ones who have two brain cells to rub together, to come up with a plan of action and actually go out here and make things shape.
But
Because
I'm going to use MOT's argument, sir. This is a very good discussion for everybody to witness. If you have limited people who are willing to be this is the whole lions at the gate theory, lions and lambs. This is the whole lion at the gate theory. If you do that, and I'm not saying you're incorrect because the probability is that you could be more so correct and it goes your way. It's all about the timing of the time. But you also must consider the lions at the gate theory to where you have now attracted attention, taking away your image of fear. And now you have lions at your gate. But what you didn't realize is that inside of your fortress, you don't have that many warriors. You have a lot of lambs. Have you considered that? That's MOT's point. Go ahead.
well, that's the point that I'm making. At the end of the day, those lambs need to get slaughtered.
But then you would be slaughtered too, though, because if you, it's a numbers game. People don't want. I love what you're saying, Green Machine, but it's a numbers game. If we got 72 lambs and only 28 warriors, how does that help us? We get slaughtered too.
the way I look at it is it's the same as the 300.
Okay, all right.
You know that 27 warriors, they went and they fought their hardest, and at the end of the day, what ended up
Now look for
happening in the next go around, they they formed what was it, Voltron, and they did what they needed to do.
now
That's
I
what.
find it I'm gonna give you 30 seconds, but I find it ironic. I had said 27, I mean 28. Green Machine said 27, and I'm gonna tell you why Green Machine is more correct with 27. Because there's always that one dude that want to switch both sides, and it's convenient. So I was incorrect. You really can't say 28. You really got to say 27 because there's that one dude in 300 that went over to Xerxes. It just happens like that. But go ahead, 30 seconds, Green Machine. And we're going to go to King Sigma.
Well, basically, I figured there isn't going to be any major changes unless there's a lot of pain and heartache, and I feel as if Trump is the best thing that happened to Black folks. Although I don't particularly like him as a businessman because I'm a New Jerseyan, and I seen what he did in Atlantic City. But
Ooh,
you
ooh,
know,
ooh.
we
He
need
left
to
y'all with a
wake
bill.
up.
He left y'all with the bill.
The bill, the bag, the empty vote, and everything else.
For people that don't know, when he filed bankruptcy, he passed that debt onto the city. So fucked up. Because Jersey ain't that big, so for the residents to endure all of that debt, it's like wow. It's the same reason I say about Pete Buttigieg when he did an illegal firing to Karen De Palma, and Karen De Palma sued the city and got 100,000 or 150,000. The Pete just left and went on to go chase the presidency. The homeowners of that city got to pay that bill. That's crazy. Thank you, Green Machine. Let's go to King Sigma, and then we're gonna go to BMT, and then Man of Tomorrow is back, and then we'll go to Man of Tomorrow third. King Sigma, go ahead, sir. Shoot my head off.
So MOT kind of, went in the same direction I was going in. And what I was trying to get at is that when you look at the reality of the judicial situation and the kind of overwhelming victory the Democrats would have to have in the fall, I just don't think it's going to happen in that way. But if it did, let's say you did get the miracle, you get the Democrats hold the House, they overtake the Senate, and you get a president. If I'm looking to do the kind of deal that you want to do, Mr. Research, I'm going with Tom Steyer, and it's very simple. Why? One,
very good point.
He's a newcomer to politics. He's a billionaire, and he's the only Democratic candidate besides Marianne Williamson, who is not taken seriously, that has been talking about a Black agenda, that has been listening, that has actually openly talked about supporting reparations and wanting to talk to Black people like yourself. So for me, I'm going through Tom Steyer. But again, I think, like MOT mentioned, there's so many forces against that kind of old EEOC model in affirmative action. We got to start from scratch. So I say, if you do it through a reparations model, the reason that it works is it's a cash infusion, right? So you can't go back on it. So like, let's say you get Tom Steyer, he sits down with Mr. Research, y'all hammer out a deal. He gives 10 trillion. I'm just making this shit up, but I'm just saying. He can issue that check within 30 days or so. But if you do the policy that you want, the problem with those policies, let's say you do a jobs guarantee. That job is only guaranteed to the point when the Congress comes along and through a lawsuit through the court that overturns it unconstitutional. So now,
well, depending on how long that policy is. Now, it does take 2 years for anything that Congress do to work through the system. But go ahead.
Okay, so you got a 2-year window. So let's say you get the deal that you want. Now you got this 2-year window. They created this EEOC program with a jobs guarantee. You only got 2 years. Now, 2 years later, the next Congress comes in. They overturn it. If it ends up at the courts, they rule it unconstitutional. So you put all that energy, you collected all those 25 million active Black voters to go vote for Tom Steyer, and all the things that you thought you're going to get are overturned in 2 years. So you need something that is going to have a long-lasting effect. So if you're going to do it the way you want to do it, the only way to do it is a straight cash infusion, because they can't come back a year, 2 years later and say, hey, give us back that $200,000 check we sent every Black person. That's the only way you're going to do it.
You know what? I that's why when you originally said it, I said I can't really punch holes in that theory, because it's the whole Bernie Sanders argument that I made the other day with some white people. Bernie's problem is he's never successfully created a bill and got his own bill passed. In all the time that he's always tagged on to other people's bill.
Right.
And even if you're a primary, you're not the author or co-author of bill. You're still a tag along.
He's no Mitch McConnell, basically.
Well.
Mitch McConnell is a damn good senator if you support, because guys like Mitch McConnell, they
He's
know
the most corrupt person in this country. Why are we even trying to even have conversations about
it. Corrupt or not, even if Mitch, and when you put these politics to the corruption test, I don't think any of them will pass a corruption test. But what I'm saying is that if you have an agenda, he gets his agenda, whether I like it or whether it's wrong, he's able to get it. Bernie Sanders, like Mr. Research said, what has he actually gotten through Congress? Because it's still going to boil down to who can play the parliamentary game the best. That's what it's still.
Well, you know what? That's why I said.
King Sigler.
Go ahead,
because
man.
it's easier to pass tax cuts than it is trying to give people health care. That's easy. Way easier. It is way easier, dude. It is.
Well, they got
it is. Yeah, it is.
That is true. The VA does do that to us.
Obamacare got passed. They passed and it became law, but like Mr. Research said, 2 years. They overturned.
But for how long?
2 years.
That was 2 years. And that was
yeah, but how long did the tax cuts get to stay though?
And I had to fast, right? and I got forced. That
25 years.
Which tax cuts? BMT. I mean, MOT. Which tax cuts?
Most of them are all still on the table. Like
yeah. So what we talking about with 2 years? Just like Trump did this cut for the higher levels and anybody over 72K. It's gonna last his full term plus 2 years, so that's 6 years. So it runs out after 6 years.
My system is all about building our numbers through actually competing and not really caring about politics right now. Because all that affirmative action and all that kind of stuff, you need to be able to really cancel that stuff once people are at a level to where they can function. So that way we ain't got to worry about.
Hold on for a second. I'm gonna come back around to you because I'm interested in that competing. We're gonna be King Sigma 30 seconds to finish up, and then I'm going to BMT.
I was just saying, like, if you're gonna make the deal that you want, which hey, it's worth a try. I just go with MOT. I think that old civil rights model of policy is done. We're moving into the most libertarian moment, and the courts are gonna back that up. So our best bet is to either just we're gonna have to embrace the libertarian moment, or
that's gonna be rough.
Or you're gonna have to go, or you're gonna try to have to get Tom Steyer in there and get a guarantee of a cash infusion immediately. I don't see no way out of this, Mr. Research, with the current situation.
BMT, you heard everything all the gentlemen said.
Oh yes.
What are your thoughts?
First of all, Tom Steyer is doing what a lot of people do. Literally, once you say reparations and stupid shit like that, they get happy. Like, oh my God, somebody's actually thinking about us. No, they're not.
Wait. See, Barbara Lee's thing is to just have the study on it. I don't understand why people are against the study. But go ahead, BMT.
No, nobody has a study. Listen, they've had plenty of time to study y'all for 300 years. I'm pretty sure they understand what code word to say.
No. Hold on. Because in politics, in order for your grandchildren or your children to get something into law, you have to have a study on it first. So if we can just get the study, people who live beyond us won't have to do that part of it, and then whatever. But I'm sorry to get you derailed off your earlier.
It's fine. It's fine. I get how when we talk about this, it does. Y'all gotta understand, man. People don't start talking to you real holistically about reparation unless they see you doing something. You're building something. You got something going that is worth them actually looking at you. Like nobody's going to give you anything anymore. We got China now. We got other countries. I don't have to deal with your black ass no more. I can go to other people to do it for cheap. I got the Mexican man that literally does what you do, if not better, and he don't say as much stuff. He literally just works and does what he need to do. Nobody don't owe you shit. Like I don't know why we keep coming with this entitlement thing. Like, well, as a black man, I've been here for 300 years. Good, congratulations. So far, you made rap, you fuck, and you made more babies, and we understand you like welfare. I gave you a reparation. Now get the hell out my face. They'll tell you that straight to your face, and then a damn thing. I literally pulled out the Glickman and Pickford goddamn case, and also the Geechee Gullah cases. Literally, you don't ever hear about the people. You know why? But they understand. Don't say shit to these niggas. be quiet, get your check, and go right back to work. But if you tell these people, they're going to want a piece of what you're doing, but they're not going to want to contribute. That's the problem. We allowing people to participate in a system that they're not producing anything. Black men, you want leadership, but why aren't you competing to get in the managerial position? Black men, you want doggone power, then why don't you go ahead and just say, yo, dude, I'm going to take my $60, get an LLC, sell goddamn food out of my goddamn truck, and then take that money, flip it around, and go get a van and keep building on until I get a brick and mortar. See, it's not like there ain't things out there for you to get or use, but you don't want to participate. You want the goddamn straggled derelict effect of having these goddamn women doggone pat you on the back, and hopefully the white man will doggone want to lick your ass. Ain't nobody give a shit about your goddamn struggle no more. If that's the case, notice whenever they do these Democratic or Republican debates, they never bring you up. You just sitting right there on the teleprompter or sitting there on YouTube on panels for 8 hours a day talking about them. And they're like, well, see, this is what they do. We gave them YouTube, so why they bitching? We gave them a voice. Y'all literally could be talking about doggone getting resources. I mean, healthcare. I told y'all to go. It don't even take, it's not even hard to go start a temp agency. Go talk to companies, have a goddamn resume. It's like this shit right here is plausible. But the thing about it is, we're stuck in on talking about the lower tier. Like Candyman don't give a shit about you until you start talking about Candyman. You keep talking about the straggled and the people who ain't participating. Do you think China gives a shit about the poor? No. They're like, unless you bring your ass to work and you competing in the caste system, I don't give a shit what you do.
Hold on. China don't even care about their own poor.
Exactly. So if that's China.
Hold on. I spent 6 months in China. When I tell you, man, the classism that goes on there, you got people that are not even rich. Well, I won't even say rich. You got people that can't that are dreaming of a McDonald's job. Like I was out there when McDonald's and Burger King first came to China. You got people living on the water, the boat people, dreaming, oh, if only I can flip burger.
Only I can flip a goddamn burger. Boy, my dream will be complete. Like y'all gotta understand, y'all gotta understand. Like this is the thing about it. Look at the channels that talk about doggone flipping 1099s and making it for somebody. Look at the channels where men and even some women are talking about, yo, dude, stop worrying about this dumb shit and get your ass in gear. Like you want policies. Policies cost money. Bills cost money. Different things of narratives that you want to see. Shit, you don't got Neverland. Go build your own goddamn Neverland. But you gotta understand, ain't nobody gonna give you shit anymore, man. Ain't nobody gonna give you shit. I get tired of these goddamn circular talk. Like y'all understand, Obama, he pushed Medicare. Why? Because he was in a position of power. He said, "Fuck y'all. You ain't gonna give it to me. I'm gonna do what I want." Even Trump. I know. I got you. Even Trump. Everybody in a position of power can push what they want. Why do you think black women push what they want nowadays? Why? But they got a position of power over you. A lot of you black men. So they're gonna say, "Well, fuck it. You didn't. Hey, I'm gonna just push it on you, and I'm gonna force you to do what I want to do." That's how the rules of the game work in policy. You don't have nothing to push, or you don't have no leverage over some of these motherfuckers. They're not giving you shit. They're gonna say, "I just want your vote. Once I get your vote, I don't owe you shit, but a thank you and a kiss on your goddamn baby. I'll put them in public school and give them a free lunch and an icy cup. Thank you. I'm done."
Now, before I go to MOT, Shirley is in the house. And even though I like Shirley for her political mind and her intellect, man, recently I saw Shirley try to take some sexy photos. I tell you, black, dark skin, it's a wonderful skin tone, because you would think that this 37-year-old woman is actually 35. And I know your age, Shirley, but it's just amazing how how the what do the young people call it, thirst trap? It still works for a lot of women. It's still, so shout out to you, Shirley, for still looking amazing, because that's really impressive. Now we go to MOT, who's going to tell us how we can do it without the old system.
It's very easy, man. You have to split off from these people and actually compete from the household level. We're thinking way too far, as if we have these things already under control. We don't even control the household yet, but we're trying to get political policy and power and all that kind of stuff. The reason why other people are able to leapfrog us is because they've already done the household. They already got everybody on the same page. We need to be able to get away from people so that way we can be on the same page. So you can still go for your county or even state government, look at their actual systems and actually be able to fund candidates so that way you can get one of those government contracts. Some of that money that you get from the government contract, which is going to be a lot, you could turn around and buy more access to government contracts. That's the way it is now, because bribery is now legal. So you have to do it from a family perspective and stop trying to do it from a race perspective.
Whoa, back this truck up. You just said a key thing. Bribery is now legal. Explain that to the black man. How does that work? How does that work?
Lobbying is nothing but bribery. That's all it is. Mm-hmm. Like, you don't have K Street in Washington because they're there for good causes. No. They pollute waterways and dump stuff into the ocean, and they don't care because they pay for it. Now, those people are 100, 150 years ahead of where we are right now, but they can't be big enough to get everything. All the small stuff out there we can still get, like access to land and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not saying sell to people in America because that's stupid. You sell to people in Europe because you know they're going to purchase it. So it's like there's so much of the small game that we're not getting, but we're all concentrated on the large game, which we're not going to qualify for. You got to be able to make sure that you're actually doing something that's actually feasible, because what makes most people give up is the fact that you're trying to do too much at one time. You don't have a household in order.
Now, I totally agree too much at one time. I will say this. I prefer to use all avenues until no avenues exist, because I'm a math person. So that's my little pushback, but I do have to acknowledge your logic on too much, nothing gets achieved. 30 seconds, MOT.
No, that's it.
Yogi Fish.
All this stuff is doable. We just need to concentrate on the family first. Getting that together first.
Okay. Yogi Fish, thank you for joining, sir. Give me your thoughts on everything you heard, and then we'll go to Green Machine.
Hey, it's been great listening to the conversation. I was reluctant to come in because I said I just like listening to what you guys are talking about.
Ain't it great to hear black men talk power for once?
I don't even look at it as black men. I just think of it as intelligent people. You know, I think us being black, that's built in. That came with the package, but us exhibiting intelligence is a thing that gets overlooked. You know, I think we get segregated into black intelligence versus intelligence. So for me, it's just listening to intelligent people. But one thing I did want to add is that a lot of what you guys are saying is relative to improving today into tomorrow. But tomorrow is going to look totally different than today. You know, a lot of what today is going to be obsolete. So it's not going to be worth improving. It's run its course. You know, some of the things that we're challenged by are just coming to the end of their value for us to even be trying to prop up. You know what I mean?
I just like with MOT, I slightly reject the theory only because today is today until today is no longer. And for a lot of people who don't understand politics and power listening to us, they get into that hyper theorism concept of nothing will ever work. So
no, I'm not saying nothing will work.
No, I know you're not saying it.
Okay.
I just push back against you and MOT on that because I understand how the listener thinks. And you being in mass media, you understand how the middle class and upper class listener thinks. I understand how the hood listener thinks.
Me too.
Yeah, the hood listener is the most dangerous Ku Klux Klan person on the planet because they really think they can't come up, and they're willing to hold everybody in this bucket with them and suffer, including their own children. And that's the only part I push back on. But please continue. Go ahead.
Yeah, but see something Green Machine said, which is about a lot of people are thinking they're making money moves. There are people who think they're doing things that they're not doing. And until they face the reality in a harsh way, they're going to waste a whole lot of energy and time thinking they're doing something that they're not really fulfilling. So at some point, you do have to hit a brick wall to know you've gone as far as you can go with this. You got to do something different.
I got to crack a joke real quick, Yogi Fish. I'm gonna give you the microphone back. Yogi Fish just made me laugh. It's kind of like the slave who's thinking on how to be free. If he can just get over to them woods, and he done come up with a whole plan. He know when master gonna be over here. He know when it's gonna be the right time, and then he shares it with another slave. Nah. The next morning, his foot is cut off. Go ahead, Yogi Fish, man. Go ahead.
But that's the thing, though. I mean, we have frustration, and that's the thing I was really trying to comment on, because a lot of what you guys are saying, some of it is just full of frustration because you know the answer, but you can't get people to move in those obvious ways. And it's because some people just don't want to ever do those things. Much as they may talk, there's a lot of people talk about being in business and doing our own thing. They like being dependent, and until you can run out of things to depend on, you're never going to get those people to say, now you must do. They're going to always talk the good talk, but they really want to be dependent. So that was the main thing I was saying, is that some of this stuff is about creating a future that doesn't exist today. And some of the stuff today is just going to have to pass away.
How about the Hillary Clinton topic?
Well, Hillary is one of those things of the past. You know what I mean? Think about it. This person,
she never goes away.
That's my point. All of the people who are draining their energy trying to get this person relevant, all of that money spent on promoting people and talking, there's a lot of money being wasted on something that will never fulfill anything. Donald Trump's going to be president. Look at all these people that spent money on campaigns and talking and going around all these states only for Donald Trump to be president again next November. That's
MOT's greatest point, is that dollars really matter. So it's like how a lot of our theory, including my own, goes on empty ears and starving bellies, because the people who have sacrificed to go to their boss and ask for some overtime are winning. The people who just punching in every day are not. 30 seconds, wrap up, Yogi Fish. We want to go back over to Green Machine.
Well, but that's the thing, though, and the other part of what I do personally is show people who are trying to go forward, you might have to let go of some of your emotional desires to help others who are draining you. That's the hardest thing I ever had to do, was say, you can't help people that you want to help. Because you love them. That's the thing a lot of you guys are expressing that you're not saying it, is that you love people who are not doing well and you want to make them do better.
Not me. Let them die.
I know what you're saying. Even that's still...
BMT would say, let them all die off.
No, but I mean, even that is harsh love. Because you're saying, I'm not going to waste making you think I care. I want you to get to the point. So you're loving them enough to tell them your time's coming short.
My old Bushido teacher, he told me, you want to get your enemy's attention, put your katana between his breastplate. It was so funny. So I used to say stuff like, when I came back to America, I used to tell people, put a battle axe between his chest. I bet he won't ignore you. So it's like that's
I mean, the people that you don't care about don't even know that you even don't care about it. The people you care about, you at least let them know, I'm sick of you, I don't like you, or whatever. That's still some concern. So
all right, here goes the lightning round. I'm going to throw you guys some a topic, and we're going to get 3 questions in, And I want to hear these intelligent minds. I'm going to use Yogi Fish's analogy on that. So here we go. Starting with Green Machine, going to King Sigma, going to BMT, going to Man of Tomorrow, then back to Yogi Fish. So Green Machine, question on the table. You have a minute and a half. No, you got a minute to answer it. Because we go speed through these. So a minute, fellas, King Sigma, BMT. We got a lot of black sons walking around still doing petty crimes, stealing. There was one guy, you'll see it on my channel tomorrow, where he kicked in the door of an old man just to take his debit card that he gets from the government, and took a $1,600 off of it, him and two other dudes. So basically you split in $1,600. My thing is, Green Machine and panel, I think it's time to start giving a fine to the custodial parent of our little young criminals when they get caught, because it's the custodial parent's responsibility. Now, this is not a far-fetched thing. This is what they used to do in 1920. If your child got caught doing something atrocious, you got a bill. You had to pay restitution to the offended party. Green Machine, what are your thoughts? Should we start going back to the 1920 version of giving a fine to the custodial parent of the offending child?
I think that's an excellent idea, and here's why. Women have had all the opportunity in the world to try to raise these children, and obviously they're not doing a great job. So if you inflict even more pain to a painful situation, they'll, number one, think about who they laying down with and having these children by, and number two, because they're getting these fines and whatnot, they'll also thinking about giving up those children to the fathers.
Now, this is something I put in my African wolf culture. I did that, and I told you guys I created this whole little cultural thing where that's why I got the whole wolf rules from, and I really put all that together. But I think this is part of culture. If we were to create another culture, this needs to be a thing. Brandon, please type in the chat room why you think it's a horrible idea. Because if a child is doing nothing wrong and not convicted of anything, there is no fine. So all you simply have to do is keep your child from a criminal act. So I don't know how it's a horrible idea, but I would love to hear what you say in the chat room. Now let's go to King Sigma. What are your thoughts on the question?
I'd say that you got to start with the makeup of those households. You said our sons. They're not our sons. 53% of black men have no children. 28% are married with or without children. And about 18% are responsible for those children. So when we look at the household in Black America, 6 out of 10 black women are raising 80% of black children. And that's those ones that they have with those 20%. Now, back to the politics of what you asked. So American black women already have a net worth of $5 nationally. And many are dependent on the state as it is at a time when they're actually de-escalating the police state and the incarceration state, especially on the left side. And no Democrat could or would dare propose such a policy. And again, it would fall on the taxpayers anyway. And we know that most children are awarded to the mother. So you'd have to go all the way back to the times when children were awarded to the father. You'd have to overturn every feminist law in the last 60 years to get the kind of environment that you want to create. So even if you were to do those fines, it'll have no effect. It'll likely be ruled unconstitutional. And that the way to deal with this problem is what MOT was referring to. This has to be done at the birth and family planning level. No policy on the back end will work. They tried the fines before. And to get it in 2020, it's not going to happen. The Democratic Party has been hijacked by feminists, illegal immigrant, open borders people, and homosexuals. Let's just be honest.
30 seconds.
So none of them are going to dare create a program like that. And even if they did, it would not work because it has not worked in 60 years. We have to create a whole new paradigm for how we structure our families, going back to a model that actually worked.
Now, my only pushback as we go to BMT is that the government does allow anybody who who certifies as a culture or even a cul-de-sac community to have their own what's the word? It's called it starts with an I. It's called it's not independent, it's not industrial. There's a political term, it starts with an I, but you're able to create your own as long as everybody in that cul-de-sac environment adheres to it. So you're able to do that. And anybody who comes into the cul-de-sac or wants to buy into the cul-de-sac, the Jews over in North Druid Hills in Atlanta do this. They have their own laws, and that is one of them. BMT, what are your thoughts?
Yeah. But I just finished talking to the project manager. Them children, I believe, yes, the parents should be penalized, but we're seeing that it's not so much the parents being penalized, it's actually the people, the denizens of that community. I counter against what King Sigma says, because we already know that when you want to set up an infrastructure or a building or some type of property in certain communities, one of the first things they're going to look up is what's the crime rate? What's going on with y'all people? What's how much money is being generated in this area? That stuff is a punishment alone, because they're going to look at what's going on in the back history of that area, which is why we don't see a lot of new supermarkets, buildings, temp agencies, different stuff that we need in the community. We don't see it there, but they're like, why the hell would I put it around these type of people? And they can't even check their own people. So naturally, they're going to put it outside. We can go ahead and look at Dearborn, Michigan, where the Arabs there, they built their own subculture goddamn city now. They literally got their own stuff. They literally play Sharia law music early in the morning, in the afternoon, and at night. The Amish and what's the other dudes? Not the Amish, the other guys, they literally drive vans and do stuff like us. MLT, what's those dudes who drive the vans? They're Amish people, they're not Amish, they're Mennonites. Like, different groups are making their own sub committees that listen, dude. We'll play the game so long as y'all understand everybody has to be on code. But there's not a code, because you gotta understand, if you build your own sub community outside where you can make the rules, and there are men who are doing that, then you literally can be garnership the rule. Like I got a few friends who are Mormons. If you step out of line of the Mormon community, they kick you out. They kick you out of the compound. They don't try to negotiate with you. And that's the problem. Like, we're in a goddamn, we take back those who fuck up, or we get the absorption. I'm not doing that shit no more. Fuck that. Either you participating or you get the hell out. And that's the thing about it, why politicians know that they can screw you over. But they know that, guess what? I can keep on fucking up with you blacks, and y'all gonna keep taking me back. Hoping that someday I'm gonna do right by y'all. I mean, come on, man.
All right, we're going to Man of Tomorrow. Answer the question, sir.
Well, the original question was, should there be pay restitution to the actual custodial parent? Correct? Hello?
Yes,
Hello,
sir. That is the original question, sir.
Yeah, we hear you, MLC.
All right. Yes. And let me take a step further than what they used to do in the Mississippi Delta and why they stopped doing. They had this thing called, when they stopped suspending kids from school, just anything that the kids did, they just required their parents to come and sit a couple of periods with them, depending on how bad the crime was that they committed against everybody. So what they did was, you didn't get to come back to school until your parent actually came to school with you and sat the class. So what they did is that your kid couldn't come back unless your parent paid restitution by sitting here with you. Mm-hmm. That happened like for the first year, and all the people who would normally be problems, they was already kicked out of school for the entire year, like in the first couple weeks. And we had relative peace. Now, you have to understand that relative peace ain't really what they want. The test scores started going up, so you know what they did? They brought all the problematic children back. So a lot of people want this type of stuff going on, even though some of these people claim that they want progress. They need these problematic children in order to make a whole bunch of money off sticking people in special ed and suspending people, and the police budget is based on bad education. So there's a lot of things that kind of go on here. So like Jake Sigmund said, I'm solving it by solving it through a household problem. I'm just going to control, you know what I'm saying, what I have control over. I have control over who I marry, what culture that they come from, and what kind of future that I'm going to have based on the type of power that I have in place. And as long as you control it at the lowest level possible, you can pretty much dodge all this other stuff. Back in the 90s, when I was coming out of high school, we didn't have YouTube where I could actually teach or even gather classes for my actual sons or daughters. Now we have that. You pretty much don't need public education anymore. So you can solve all these problems. This is why I say you don't even need affirmative action as much anymore either. So thanks so much for having me on, man.
Yogi Fish, what are your thoughts with the question, sir?
Well, part of the question for me isn't realistic. Because first we'd have to have something we're trying to replicate that exists somewhere. And we're comparing this to other cultures, but even those cultures are not monolithic of the whole culture. Those are pieces of those cultures. You know what I mean? Like when you say white society, they're not all the same people. You know, in Europe, they're all different people. They're fighting each other all the time for centuries. So,
well, my only pushback on that is that leans to the it can't be done theory. I know you're not saying that, but it leans toward it. But when any idea has the capability to happen, it's the timing of the idea. But go ahead.
Well, but I'm not saying the idea can't happen. I'm just saying the definition of success is not defined by all of us together. You know what I'm saying? Like saying black people as a group doesn't really exist. You know, I'm black complected, but am I in your same cultural community with the same complexion?
Respectfully, that is a linear thing, but right. As it relates to the possibility of having something work where the custodial parent is penalized, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, that's the thing, though. You know, like, who's going to be the one to suffer the most? That parent who's trying their best, but the kid is still out of control, who's got a job, is now got a job and a penalty because they got a child that's out of control. And I've met enough parents that are good parents. You know, where I'm at, there's some good parents, but some of the kids are out of control. So now,
well, Green Machine had an answer for you, and I'm just trying to dig into your logic. Green Machine had an answer for you. Then then do what happened with Furious Styles and Boys in the Hood. Give the kid to the mother. I mean, to the father.
Yeah, but that's the thing, though. We're saying fix the problem with another problem versus understanding what the problem is to begin with. Like, there's not a lot that goes into.
So, what would be your solution on? What would be your solution on the children as it relates to victimizing other black people? What is your solution?
Well, see, that's the difference. You know, that's what I'm trying to say. Problem child and problem to society child are two different problems. So if you penalize a parent because their kid is acting up in class, that kid is disrupting other kids.
Okay, here's our classic pushback between me and you.
It's kind of hard for me to hear something.
Here's my classic pushback between you and I, Yogi. It's so nuanced, it's so gray area,
right,
that you're not picking any side or giving me something to put a dog leash on. So
what I'm saying is that the punishment part is the part I have a problem with.
Okay, let's take that away.
Yeah.
How do I stop the children from victimizing at the high rate that they're doing?
Yeah, so that part is where you say this kid has to go to another form of school. We can't have you all in the same.
No. This ain't school. This is on the streets.
Yeah, but he's still a kid, so he's in a different school. You know what I'm saying? Like, even though he's in the street, you're talking about with a problem, we have to send you to another school. Like, back in my day, they would send you to the reform school. You know what I'm saying? You weren't even in the household. You was in a place a facility. It wasn't prison, but it was a school. But you were somewhere else other than the
Isn't that
environment you were
called
in.
juvenile detention?
No, because
It's alternative school. It's alternative school.
yeah. So but the thing is that kid is learning from their environment and taking it to school and back and forth. So
All of you guys are
You have to-
correct. It depends on the
put 'em
state. So it is juvenile detention, depending on the state, but it is also called alternative school in certain states. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah. I'm saying something different than what maybe the states are doing. I'm saying you have to educate that child in another environment as well as another type of school environment because they need another education that their physical environment isn't giving them. They're acting out in a physical environment. They need to be in
Okay, so
another
I gotta move that to Edward. Edward, the question is: should the custodial parent be fined for something this kid is out doing, kicking in somebody's door, harassing some elderly person? What are your thoughts, Edward?
That's a question I need to really think about because I don't know.
What?
I will say this: to give an initial answer, there needs to be some kind of penalty. There just needs to be because if you say fine, I like when you said fine. I definitely believe that a financial penalty is a good penalty. Because at the end of the day, there has to be some accountability to the children that people are producing and bringing into the world or bringing into the collective society. You have a right, your body, your choice. And I'm not even just talking about the women. I'm talking about who dudes sleep with. And at some point, there has to be a penalty to you bringing fucked up people in the environment. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. And do Yogi, I'm a lot more ruthless about that. Really, the answer that I have is not should there be a penalty. The question I would ask is how much pain do I need to fucking administer before they fucking get that your child is an extension of you? And the community will be given priority over you. So hold on. So I'll give you a perfect example. I live in North Carolina.
I want to get your thoughts on two other things because I got your point on that. What about the Hillary?
Well, let me give it quick. I'll be quick about this. I promise. I live in North Carolina. I'm from Chicago, and I went to school in Chicago, but I live in North Carolina. I went to school more in North Carolina. We have a variety of education. We have year-round school. We have block scheduling. I'm talking about when I was in school. This stuff was all implemented too. We have charter schools. We have the alternative schools that can operate, but usually they're called charter schools as well. This is a form of charter schools. We don't really have juvenile detention. That's more of a Chicago thing. They even have school programs that if people drop out of school, motherfuckers will knock on doors like Jehovah's Witnesses and give them a program so they can be out of school but still get those hours that they need to graduate. So I know it sounds like what I'm saying is harsh, but there is plenty of stuff that these white folks as well as black people voted into to give the layers necessary for people that just want to fuck up. But at the same time, if you bring a knife to school, if you fight at school and you miss more than a couple days, you will be suspended to the point where you just don't need to come back to school. You come back the next year and you just keep getting held the fuck back. But anyway, I'll finish it there.
Okay. Before you go, because I'm going to go in reverse. I'm going you and then King Sigma and then the way we just went. But I'm going to ask you this question so you can be in rotation.
Okay.
This is the second question for the panel, and I got to move these mics faster than I did last time, fellas.
Okay.
Here's my question, and you'll lead it off. King Sigma be next, followed by BMT, Green Machine, Man of Tomorrow, Yogi Fish. So here's the question: should black men create a private sector child support system and force city council to use it as an alternative? Here's what I mean by force. When you do a towing company and somebody stops to tow your car, in certain states, you have options of which ones to use. Should black men create a private sector child support company that goes into the major metro cities and says, hey, we're men and we're going to be talking to men and we're going to say, hey, look, here's our system. Here's how we can do it better for you and your child, lady. If homeboy ain't doing what he's supposed to do, blah, blah, blah. And by doing this, take away much of the power away from the current child support structure, because people don't know Obama created two things for Black men within the child support system. The problem is it's ran by women who are anti-male. If males had access to those two things, which is the paralegal service Obama created for men, and the interest conversion system that would eliminate a lot of the interest. My question, Edward, should Black men create a private sector competing child support system that gives an option to be used? We can talk to the male money provider better. We can get better outcomes. We can create a rush card type of scenarios. There's a lot of things that we can do, and it would force, just like private sector healthcare insurance forces Medicare to have a better situation, it would force the government to have a better situation overall, helping Black men. Edward, you have 1 minute, then we go to King Sig.
My short answer is no, because the reality is it's a choice still. There's nothing that Black men are going to do that's going to force women to if you can't put in a mechanism that makes women take that plan where it's available, then my answer is no, because there's too many questions. Question number one, I don't have kids. So is it my responsibility to put money into this private pool when I don't have kids and I don't even know if I will have kids, for dudes that know what the system is and chooses to have children? Another question is, how are you going to force Black women to take that? Because if it's not a better deal for them, if it's not obviously more money, because it's obviously not more power in their favor, then it's just going to be there and it's just not going to work.
Let me answer. So let me answer. So you can force, but it does take time. It takes somewhere from 2 to 4 years on a city or state level for you to force it. But you must have the mechanism in place, and you must have proof of concept. So even if you're able to get 20% of people to voluntarily go into the system, or men who have custody as the primary part of the business, you do have proof of concept, and then therefore you can go in and do some
you solve a problem. Like, I would be more willing to agree with that if it had to do with Black men that have kids only that are pulling that system. There's so many things that I can't even get into that we're not on code on for something like that to be able to work. And I'm not even talking about Black women. I'm talking exclusively Black men that would have to be on code on it, or for something like that to be truly viable, that just having it there so it's funded, but it's sat. And then it's because, let's keep it real, big reason why the child supports exist the way that it exists is so they can be arbitrary by how they administer it. The way they administer it with white folks is not exactly the same that it gets administered by black people to Black people. The judges traditionally have the majority power, and that allows them to decide how they administer it, which creates a lot of gray areas. That's really the main problem in the child support system more than anything. So, I mean, I don't like something like that, but that's just me. Maybe I'm not open-minded enough.
Let's go to King Sigma. Your thoughts, sir?
Right. Yeah, I have to agree with Edward Anderson on the voluntary situation. I don't see it working in the current climate, and I'd have to use like what BMT said in the chat. He talked about South Carolina and how they fine parents, and they also threaten they could put you in jail up to 30 days. This is why when you have a program, you got to look at the immediate solution and then possible unintended consequences. The program that you would implement is that, first off, it will be enforced the strongest against the poorest people. So let's take an example. Like, I'm from Wisconsin. BMT has the same kind of program as Wisconsin does. I have cousins in prison right now for getting behind on their child support. Guess what it does? They end up in prison. They lose whatever job they get. They get in arrears. And when they get out, they're 10, 12,000 in arrears. They can't find a job. Now they go right back to prison. So the solution that solution creates one solution, but it creates 3 to 5 problems. Because again, guess what? That parent that loses their job, because they have their jobs are the most at risk, those in working class and working poor have the high risk jobs where they don't get any kind of like a time off to the rate that white collar workers do. They have to deal more with a micromanaged situation. They can't just be, oh, I was in jail for 30 days. Most of them will be laid off. Now the kid gets taken by foster parents if there is no family to act as a guardian. Now the parent gets out of jail after those 30 days. They don't have a job. They don't have a home because they were evicted, because most of these people have no savings and they have low cash. Now the children has to be got back. Now they got to go find a new job. And in the meantime, you, the taxpayer in the state, will have to take care of that parent and the kid. So you just created 3-4 problems that might be 10 times more expensive than the initial problem that you were trying to solve in the first place. That's why I say, and I'll close with this, it has to go back to cultural paradigm. We have to go back to a model where women and young men understand.
But that requires, but sir, that requires male financial dominance. I've been saying that to Black youth forever. You're only going to get cultural.
Mr. Research, I got 30 seconds.
Okay, go ahead, sir. Go ahead, sir.
My 30 seconds, bro.
Go ahead, sir.
I want to say this. I say it takes male discipline and leadership to fix the problem. By just not coming in women that you don't plan on having a relationship with and taking kids with, and women not opening their legs to men that don't plan on doing those things, we could solve a lot of these problems without, before the money is even included. Male sexual discipline and female sexual discipline would probably fix 50% of our cultural issues right now. You got the mic back, Ms. Research.
BMT.
That is your son. That is your son.
Yeah. That's why. Hey, that's why. Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, yeah. And that is true. Because there is, like I said, I'm only speaking from South Carolina State and a few other states I know, like Georgia. If the child does not show up to school or does not participate in the school system, because that the state gets paid for every child that steps foot in that door, then yeah, they have a way to reprimand the household. They're like, okay, so you're not going to bring the child here? All right, then here's how we'll do it. They contact you and they contact you a few more times. Then after that, then you start seeing you got to summon the court. You don't show up to court, well, then we'll handle it our own type of way.
But we're on the new question of, should Black men create a competing private sector child support system and siphon away the financial power of the current child support system?
But that's what I'm saying. When I brought up that, it would have to be Black men would have to have a system that can literally either outdo the state or be better than the state, which provides free food, aid, housing, and all that other stuff. And I'm just saying, I don't know who got that pool of wealth to literally, take them off of that addiction of them type of supplements.
Well, hold on. You don't have to create the food element. All I have to do is say, hey, Green Machine, we have an opportunity here. Sarah has decided to go through us as opposed to the 26% system. We're going to cut that in half. We're going to drop it down to 12%. What we're going to have you do is sign a long-term contract to where we're going to PayPal siphon off monthly money from your account, not your check. If you default on that, we're going to do just like a gym membership. We're going to garnish that through the courts and add a additional 16% for you defaulting. If you have a problem, Green Machine, holla at us. We're a Black man company. We'll be able to work something out to stretch out your payments or cut them in half to where she'll still get it just a longer period of time. What's wrong with that idea of BMT?
Because the system that you're trying to create involves people have to participate versus the system that Black women and majority of these of lower tier people are in is a system in which you don't have to participate and you get awarded for it. So in looking at that, Black men, we have to compete and actually have to build a system. We can't afford to take days off. They're in a system where you get paid that, hey, you're not going to work. It's okay. Put your child on these circumstances. Put this man's name down on the dotted line. will siphon the money off of a working class versus a non-working class. When you're looking at that type of system, how the hell do you outbid that? But the system is garnered off of food and resources, and literally it requires blood sacrifice. No other system, literally in the world, uses that system. But they're like, hell no! Like, we need bodies, we need children in diamond blood mines. We need children in. If Africa don't mind putting kids in diamond blood mines to work their ass off, I don't know why. I don't know how we're gonna compete against this system.
30 seconds, Bill, and then we'll go to Green Machine.
I get what you're saying, but I'm saying the system that we're trying to build is literally, we already have the working class brothers like as us on this panel. We're already trying to literally get men to literally get your asses up, leave this type of thinking alone, and get to work and build. But it's hard to get men to want to get it participate versus the men who are being awarded for non-participation, and they're literally providing a system of, listen, baby, I don't mind getting behind you and watching the kids like a good babysitter, so long as I can get some access to vagina and food. How do you beat that system?
Let's go to Green Machine, then we'll go to Man of Tomorrow. Then we go to Man of Tomorrow, then Yogi Fish. Green Machine, what are your thoughts on the concept?
Well, the way I see it is I kind of concur with BMT, because they are incentivized. Not only that, but the system that they have now has so much power behind it that it'd be hard for you to even to implement it. And secondly, we're kind of glazing over the fact that type of system costs money, and we hardly even eating right now, a lot of us. So it sounds great, but I don't see it happening. For one, I mean, I don't have any children, so I really don't have too much of a dog in that fight.
Well, I already did the numbers. It'll cost shortly under 10 million to happen. But if you did it in a small local city, which you should do, then it'll be a good 4 or 5 million. But go ahead.
And then the other side of the spectrum is I feel as if the only time a man should have to pay child support is if he says that's fine. I don't want nothing to do with this child's life. I give you this couple dollars and I'm gonna go live my life. That's the only time I feel as if a man should have to pay. Because if you're doing what you need to do in your child's life and you're a part of making sure that they're competent individuals, then there's no reason for that. Now, if that system is able to implement that, then great. And then the other thing there is I have a good friend. He has 2 children. He's been raked through the coals with that system, and he literally works the same place I work, where he's getting paid under the table to scapegoat around the fact that he has to pay child support. And that's all I got.
Interesting. I'm willing to learn. Thank you, gentlemen. I'm willing to learn. Let's see if Man of Tomorrow has something different, and then Yogi Fish. I want to see if I have anybody. I don't know. Man of Tomorrow, go ahead.
This may be a shock to you, but I don't give a shit about child support issues. Next question.
I had some thoughts about that.
Hold on, you don't want to help your brothers?
Nope, not them types. Shit. I help people who form families properly. I ain't got time for this child support shit. You shouldn't be sticking your dick in fucking Venus flytrap.
Yep.
Man.
He don't even hire them. He doesn't even hire them.
Good point, MOT.
You stick your dick in a meat grinder and then you get upset when it gets cut up.
Yeah,
that's the beginning and end of it.
He don't even hire them on child support.
Wow. Okay, let's see if Yogi Fish got something different, and we'll go to the next question. Yogi Fish, what are your thoughts?
Well, let me get the question together. You saying Ken?
Let me restate it.
All right.
Should black men create a private sector company that directly competes with the child support system? My argument is that it will siphon off at least 20% of willing participants.
My argument. That's me. My bad. Sorry.
What are your thoughts, Yogi?
First of all, I think systems like that do exist. I can't give you the name of them off the top of my head. I've heard this years ago. They're called mediation groups, and what they do is try to assist the government in finding ways to.
That is a totally different thing.
I know, but I'm just telling you what exists, because they feel the child doesn't benefit from child support system being in the hands of legal definition. It only leads to a penalty in some ways. So therefore, it doesn't help the ultimate goal, which is the child. It doesn't support them. So these groups, from what I remember, were trying to work with the government and the parents of the child in defining what supports the child and where there's a deficiency. When the government's involved, their job is not to care about anybody. It's just legality. So if you create an alternate system to the government, what piece of that system are you trying to recreate? The legal part or the caring part that the government doesn't even deal with? You know, so
That's a good point.
So I think we as Black men can create a child support in the child caring part. And I know, like in Patterson, New Jersey, is an area that I do know of, and these are Muslim men, and they have a system of child, like they'll take care of your child during the day while you go to work. They'll provide the food. It's more like the Black Panther model, where they'll provide a daycare, food, after school program, and the government provides them a grant to supplement in
Can I say
areas
something?
like that.
Hold on, Faith. 30 seconds, Edward. Go ahead.
All right. So one thing is with the Muslims, you opt into that by opting into their religion, aka
No.
But that's not even the main thing I wanted to say. The main thing I wanted to propose is something very simple. I definitely agree that if it's a woman's body, it's definitely her choice. But I'm curious if the group agrees with this, yes or no. I propose that a woman shouldn't have access to child support unless she was married. That should be a form of alimony, because that's a man making a form of commitment. That's a man making commitment to that woman and those children. So as far as I'm concerned, no, hold on. Let me finish the statement, then you can respond.
I thought it was
I'm just
my turn.
saying, if you don't,
Edward, that's a side linear thing. I'm gonna give you the microphone, Edward, but let him finish so we can move this through.
I hear what you're saying, Edward. But I mean, what I'm saying is that the child is the ultimate focus of whatever we're talking about. You know what I mean? Sure, there's some bad people that made a child. You know what I mean? I'm lucky to be here. I didn't get aborted. My parents weren't married. My mother was married to somebody else. I'm glad to be here. You know, my parents are people. I love them both. My father's gone, but I'm still going to be an individual that got to grow up. These children have to grow up. They will become adults. So I'm only focusing on what was best for that child. The parents, there's some stupid people that got kids, but do we worry about the stupid people or the kid who's going to grow up to be somebody we hope is somebody important?
All right. We got one more player in. I'm going to let her speak on it. I'm going to keep it short. I'm going to go back to Edward, let him get his, and then I'm going to let everybody do final thoughts. Shirley Huzar, wherever you want to get in, tell us what are your thoughts on any of the topics that we spoke of.
Well, good evening, gentlemen. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I apologize. I'm driving towards LA right now. There's an ADOS meeting, and I was at meetings last night. So, we're trying to be on camera and on the field. It's two different things. When you have a non-Borg mentality, the unit will not move forward. So, when you have Black men who assemble for the strength of the lair, they must remember their responsibility is to everyone, even if it is not their own heir. It is still their responsibility. So some of you have been on here and I've listened to you and you say, well, I don't have no kids, I'm single, da, da, da. It's not about you anymore. You are not a narrative. You must move in a board mentality.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem with that though, Shirley, because I'm a Black son and I'm going to say this to you. In your in your honorable idea, it is true. But in application, this community teaches individual all the time. Me, I. Is kind of difficult when the narrative is to the Black sons, only when it comes to this family structure, therefore bow down to the group collective. I understand your point as far as being an honorable theory, but I gotta be honest with how it's perceived with the Black sons. It's disingenuous to put it only at the foot of Black sons. But go ahead, Shirley.
I understand. Can you hear me? I know
Yeah,
I'm driving, so I'm
go ahead.
I'm on the 405. I see what you're saying, but I mean, we have to look as a collective. Look at how everybody else is moving. They're getting 1 to 2 to 3 to 12 steps ahead, and we're still evaluating should we operate individually or as a board. That's all I want to know. So if you're gonna go on that premise of what you're stating, and I agree with you, we have this individual I mindset.
But I'm going to push back again. I'm going to push back again because
Can I say something before I get removed again?
I want to keep peace on the panel. So I'm going to say to you again politely, Shirley, then you need to go to the women and correct that side of it first. Coming over to the guys is it's a harder one to do. But go ahead and finish, and then I got to go back to Edward and let him finish his and get final thoughts. Go ahead, Shirley.
I agree with you on that. I think I'm already on the women's side, and we are having these discussions. The interesting part about the women's side, they trying to figure out if the light skin and the dark skin are better than one another. But that's another conversation. From a perspective of law, from a perspective of power, and from a perspective of money, we have to move as a unit. I yield the mic.
Shirley, give me your final thoughts because I got to start making room. Final thoughts, Shirley.
For every action is a reaction. For every non-action is the aftermath. We are living the aftermath of the voices that spoke previously before us. It is now up to us to take the bandana. It is now up to us to take yield and control of the situation in our communities by being the voice, not be the appointed voice or the given voices that they want to choose. We choose, we move, we set the rules. Thank you, gentlemen. My name is Shirley Hussar. You can follow me on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. Tomorrow at Crenshaw Christian Center, we will be talking about school choice. Please go to Crenshaw Christian Center's website. Today in Leimert Park, 11 and 4. I'm on my way over there right now. We're going to be talking about ADOS and Black economics. And I would love for those who are able to come who hear this message to do that. Thank you for your time.
Okay. And everybody, please support financially Black Joy Parade. Black Joy Parade is a celebration to the city of Oakland and the world of Black people, all about having fun and intellectualism and things of that nature. Thank you, Shirley. Now we go to Edward. Go ahead, Edward.
All right, so a couple of quick things. Number one, it only matters, let's be clear here, and I'm gonna be blunt. No, when it comes to children in the eyes of the law, but by and large, this system only brings up the what happened to these children that they got to grow up when it comes to legislating black male or male behavior in general, black male behavior in particular. They don't give a fuck about what's good for the child when it's time to legislate a female's behavior. And that's indicative of how difficult it is, what the things that women have to do in order to lose their kids. Let's keep it real. It's women don't even go to jail for leaving their children in a fucking car and it gets hot and they die. They get off most of the time on that stuff. So let's not pretend that when people say what's good for the child is what's most important, that matters when it's actually time to tell that female what to do, or that woman is being a bad mother or a detriment. There's diseases that they call women when it comes on women that harm. What's that thing? Postpartum. depression. They have diseases for shit like that. For men, they just get thrown in jail. So it's not an equal opportunity thing. Now, the second thing is, this is to speak directly to Shirley's point. I wish she was still up here. The reason why other groups do what other groups do is because other groups at some level have a basic social contract. What you hear when you hear like white women feminism, white women are not against white supremacy. They're arguing the details of the social contract they have with their men. That's what you hear in the arguing points. Black people do not have a social contract. You got the Nation of Islam that does. You've got certain like other non-ADOS groups that have a basic social contract. But ADOS, aka FBA blacks, do not have a social contract. This is where the I, which is traditional Americanism, comes in. Now, going back to
what are your final thoughts? What are your final thoughts? Because we're wrapping up.
Yeah. This is all inclusive in my final thoughts in 30 more seconds, and then that's in my final thought. All of it is over. My thing is, as long as we don't have a social contract, anything that you talk about as far as government administration is not going to work, because it's going to be destroyed by that lack of social contract. And this is the conversation that people don't want to come into. So when Shirley talked about what we need to do, the truth is there is no we, because we have not established a social contract. This is where, when you were saying she needs to talk about what the women need to do, the women need to be honest about what they want, and what the most important thing, what are they willing to do to get what they want as far as the men. But that coming in on some what men just need to do because they need to do it. No, we're on a pay-as-you-go program, which means I do what the fuck I want that's in my best interest. And you got some dudes that's going to tell you what you want to hear, but truth be told, that's what it really is for most people now. Anyway, I'm done. Thank you.
I appreciate it, Edward. I got to start wrapping up, you guys, dropping people down. No disrespect to nobody. Shirley's gone. Edward's off. Let's go with Man of Tomorrow. Go ahead, Man of Tomorrow.
Hey, thanks for having me on. I'm just saying that we should never be negotiating with women. If there's actually with us, there will be nothing to talk about. So we're just not going to keep renegotiating with people who are pretty much gaslighting you on the actual tip of thinking that they're almost about to make a breakthrough when all they had to do was just work with you. So, I'm a version of damn breakthrough. So I want to thank you so much for having me on. Man, tomorrow. You guys have a really nice day.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Let's go with he's been very patient. King Sigma.
Okay, yeah. So I heard the lady Shirley, and I would just say that it's funny how some black women are quick to privatize their pleasures and short-term desires, but they want to publicize the consequence and long-term pains of those decisions. I'm not with it. I'm cool. Whether you're child-free or not, whether you're married or not, you're still a taxpayer. You're still a citizen in this country, and you're still going to be out here having to live in this society, no matter either way. And in regards to what you were saying about the programs that you proposed, I think that it would have been critical if you would have added in the cost, because like I used in the model of Wisconsin and BMT said in South Carolina, someone's going to pay the cost. So when you talk about the child, if you use the Health and Human Services model, they say that the entry-level lowest amount to give a kid a middle-class lifestyle in America is $13,000, split between one parent or both parents or the taxpayers and the parents. So the current model uses the parents being responsible, and with us moving into a more libertarian moment as the welfare state is shrunken, that responsibility will fall more and more on the shoulders of the parents and not the rest of the taxpayers. And the last point I would make is that in regards to how we find people, the reason why I said that you have a solution, but it creates 3 to 5 more problems is because you got to understand, incarceration rates are so high in the United States now that I think it's about $65,000 per year to incarcerate someone in prison. So in the model that you were talking about, you find that the parent goes to prison for 30 days, like in BMT state, you know that you just cost the U.S. taxpayer $5,416. And you created a whole nother problem because, again, what I said earlier, now the person, okay, in Wisconsin, my cousin got his driver license taken. And I'm like, MOT, I don't feel sorry for him or anything, but I'm just giving the real numbers. He ended up getting his driver's license suspended, ended up losing his job, did like a month or 2 in jail. And when he came back, his house was going and everything. This happens every day in Wisconsin. every day. That's why
Are you close to Kenosha or Oshkosh?
Well, my people are from Kenosha, Racine, and Milwaukee, but I'm in Minnesota right now. I'm up there. I'm in Minnesota. It's much different in Minnesota than Wisconsin, but they don't put you in jail in Minnesota. But in Wisconsin,
are you in Minnesota? Or are you on the border of with? Are you living in Wisconsin?
No, I'm living in Minnesota right now. I'm in the Twin Cities right now. I came up here for school and work. But yeah. So I just want to throw that at you because you got to understand that you get that person in jail, it's going to cost taxpayers over $5,000 for just 1 month. Then you got to deal with the eviction. Think about how an eviction. Okay, let's say that person gets evicted. Now you gotta hire a sheriff to go subpoena them. They gotta show up to court, so you gotta pay a judge. You gotta pay a public defender. To do what you want to do, Mr. Research, it may cost $30,000 on taxpayers to do the model that you want. That's why I say we gotta. The government model policy isn't gonna work. We need to deal with the cultural issues. And like I just said, and this will be my last statement. If you want to go out there and get your short-term pleasures and desires, you're gonna have to pay for it. So what we have to do, we have to put more money into financial planning, really teaching the young kids not only to use birth control, but what comes if you don't. See, they don't tell children what the consequences are going to be later. They don't give that to the children. They'll teach them about sex. They'll even make birth control available, but they don't tell them, well, if you do this and you have this child, here's what it's going to cost you. Here's the outcomes. They should take all the children on a scared straight across homeless America. Go on, walk these children down Skid Row. I just saw something on the news in San Francisco where they were showing homeless people shitting it, like, you know how they got like plants outside of corporations in those big pots. They had a bunch of this was on the news, a bunch of homeless men, white, black, Latino dudes. They were like in front of the corporation.
That was from years ago. It's not a recent thing, but it did happen. But that's not a common thing. But yeah, go ahead.
Okay, no. So they need to see what the outcome. You know how they take those kids to the prisons? Hey, this is what it's like in the prison. We need to show them
Scared Straight.
Yeah, scared. We need to do a Scared Straight where you walk children down Skid Row.
Oh, that's actually a good idea too.
And then where you walk them through trailer parks and shit. I bet you could help with this financial plan because the policies that you have are great ideas. But the point is, it deals with a symptom. And the problem is that it will cause more problems, and you still haven't dealt with the root cause. The root cause is irresponsible sex, like Dr. Welsing said. When you play with sex, the joke is on the children. And I'll concede, and I'll pass the mic. Thanks for having me on this research.
Thank you. That is the Prince of Research. That guy is amazing, King Sigma. Thank you, sir. Let's go with BMT, Yogi Fish, and Green Machine is going to close out. BMT, your thoughts?
Yeah, when we're talking about this system that research is talking about, and actually there are some groups who are doing it. The NOI, the Men of the Nation of Islam, they actually provide a system for their community in which, as long as you play under their rules and their guidance, you are under their stewardship or protection. But the key word, you are under them. And see that you have to provide something, man. You have to provide something that's going to cost. And if it's going to cost, that means they have to be creative. They have to design and build stuff, an archetype. And sadly enough, we do not respect the archetypes. We don't respect the builders. We just want them to create, but we don't have no respect for them. If you don't have no respect or garnership or praise for these type of people who do create in their work, then they start to die off. They start to do less for you. And so they'll go elsewhere where you do not appreciate these type of men that research is talking about. The system gets to step in because these men start to die off and go to other systems that will raise them up, that will put them on platforms to keep on creating. That is the point of a scientist. A scientist has to get to research.
You know what? You make a great point because that's what I try to tell people. If you don't create some of these things, people will create it for you, and you may not like the Frankenstein creation. But go ahead.
Yes, we can honestly look at it. Whenever a researcher wants to build, they have to get the what? The research grant funding. That means I would have to fund Mr. Research on his proposition and his proposal, and he has to be able to produce within a certain timeline. But that means everybody within that lab, they're literally crunching. They're not taking no breaks. They're not taking no days off. They know within 30 days. And see, that's the thing about it for Black men. You have to mentally put a deadline in your mind. this is our goal. This is our set garnership of what we want to do. And because when you start doing that, you'll start getting results. These children right here, if you don't recruit them, somebody else will. That's just the bottom line. What you gotta understand. What you see as a gay kid, somebody sees it. Oh, I see a marketing strategy. What you see as a little kid right there, doggone picking up goddamn guacamole and all that shit, doing crazy stuff. People are going to use what you don't use. I know y'all don't like hearing that. I know some people are like, I'm an individual myself, but I take what the land gives me of the deer skin, the meat, the bones, and I use every tool accessible until I can build a doggone actual battle axe or actual sword. That's the whole game of how it works. That's why other nations are beating us, or other cultures within the U.S. are getting ahead of us, or otherwise some black men are building their own subterranean culture in their home. Why? Because they understand, if you will not work alongside with what you have with me right now, then I'm going to do it on my own, and I do not need you. And so everybody's doing their own thing. And literally, it's going to be 2020. You're going to start seeing shift of changes in the next few months of people. Even look at white people. They made Antifa. They didn't like their government. They made Antifa government. Now they got other subcontracted governments under Antifa. Y'all got to be for real, man. You better start building your own little subject. Go ahead. I do apologize.
Thank you, BMT. I appreciate it. Got to drop you down. Yogi Fish, your thoughts, sir?
Whew, boy. I need to get air conditioning. This is hot.
This is like I said, when you come over here and I do these panels, you get mentally challenged over here.
Well, see, the thing I'm listening to, because I am older, and it makes me feel good, is that people get upset about how much they care. You know, as much as people say, I don't give a that, they do care. You know, and that's the whole point with us as black men specifically, is we care so much to our own detriment. You know, and that's the frustrating part, is we love black women just like they are. We don't need you to have this kind of hair, light, dark, big, fat, whatever. We never really put down black women, you know, and it's disappointing. And this is part of my final thought, is that we keep making black women the problem when black women aren't our problem. It's just that some of what we want so much. You know, we want a perfect world. That we're doing good, we just ain't good enough for us. You know, we have high expectations. You know, other cultures, if somebody's crazy, the hell with them, they throw them away real quick. You know, you don't find one culture like black people that will take everybody in our culture, even the worst, and try to fix them. You know what I mean? Other cultures ain't having this debate. You won't find this on YouTube. You know, what can we do to fix our culture? Jews ain't doing that. Jews will throw another Jew away in a second. You know what I mean? Those are the cream of the crop Jews you see doing well. The rest of them are poor. You know, people never see poor Jews. In Israel, there's a lot of poor Jews over there. You know, they ain't doing good at all, and they don't care about it.
Especially the black section of Israel.
Well, the black section of Israel, which I know about, that's the problem, is that because they're surviving and doing good, the poor white ones are saying you got to get rid of them because maybe they're the reason why I'm not doing well. You know what I mean? That's why that is. You know, the black Jews are like, hey, I'll do good here. I'll go back to Africa, but you poor Jews ain't going to ever do well. But what I'm saying is that we as black people are trying to fix even the worst of us. And that's the frustration, you know, is that we care about extreme range of stuff. We're not willing to throw things away and say, well, that's enough of that.
I'm big on part of what the gentleman was saying. I believe in the classism. The great separation has already happened. It happened last year. And the reality is, this is not 1986 Ronald Reagan crack cocaine on the streets.
Yeah.
Everybody can go get a legal job. Everybody can be a manager. Everybody can push the system back financially. Right. It's just that we have too many people who want to go along to get along. This is why I put myself forward, being a former drug dealer, former pimp, former gun shooter, gun holder. I changed my life because I wasn't happy about the block. I wasn't happy. You know, I mean, it's a turn on to come out there every day and chop it up with your boys and make money. But when you realize, I'd rather be making less money with less pressure. And that's where I squared up and start looking at different lanes. Oh, this lane gets you what? Oh, let me get in there now. Oh, this lane gets you what? Oh, and then I had to control my mouth.
But
Go
think
ahead.
about that. Think about the high-minded strength it took you to change. And then compare that to other cultures. Do they ever change, or do they just stay the same? The mafia got big because they stayed the same. Black people could easily create a mafia, but we evolved from that. We said we can't create a system, a subsystem, and then live off this forever. We got to evolve. So, a lot of those people we had big time gangsters too. They just moved that money into another segment. You may not hear about it, but they evolved. They didn't just stay in that because we're different people. That's one thing about Black people. We keep going for the highest part of humanity. To our detriment, we go for the highest piece of humanity. Other people could care less about this stuff. You know what I mean? Like your questions about children. I don't know nobody else has them questions about the children.
Yeah, that's
problem.
True. That's true. That's
what
true.
I mean? So, as much as people may criticize our challenge, be grateful that you are a human being that's still trying to reach this highest humanity. As corny as that may sound, at the end of the whatever this life is going to be, that's what the chosen people are here for.
Yogi been reading so much Shakespeare, boy, it just comes out. I tell you, everything is noble concepts. I just like pushing stuff forward and having more intellectual.
You're a humble brother, but give yourself credit for being self-made in your morality.
Took a lot.
Applaud yourself for that.
Well, me and God. God really, he really took out his hammer and chisel at a time when everything was going straight for me and said, nah, I'm gonna make you suffer some more. Are you serious? I never forget those times. I was like, God, I can't be more humble. Yeah, you can. Like, what the fuck? He gave me so much. You know what, Yogi Fish, and I say this to a lot of people, but you probably never heard it. I have suffered at the hand of a Black woman more than anybody I know, more than anybody I've ever met. I had to pay $50,000 for a kid that wasn't mine.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still not mad at chicks.
And you shouldn't be, because
I'm mad at myself. For allowing her access to manipulate white folks to get me. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but I mean, we can all look back at reluctance at things and money, but the thing that gives me strength, despite what I've been through, is that I'm strong enough to handle the mess. Everybody can't like it. I can handle anything. So whatever the problem is, I'll solve it. I'm smart enough to solve it and handle whatever. So I understand what the other panelists were saying, but understand you got to come into your strength and find solutions to these problems. You just can't say this is a problem. You got to use your higher mind and say, let me go find the solution. That's the challenge we have as Black men.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your time, sir. Going out here to my last contestant, Mr. Green Machine. Save the best for last. Sir, let me hear your brain. Green Machine to go.
Well, first and foremost, I'd like to thank you for having me on. Secondly, I'd like to thank you for pushing my growth as a man, first and foremost, and as a Black man, secondly.
Thank you.
And basically, we as a group, we need to build and support our A.G. Gastons up and coming or in the future to be able to push our policies, because at the end of the day, nothing politically will happen for us until we reach in our pockets and pay for the things in which we want, whether it be media, whether it be women, whether it be, the 8 areas.
We gotta financially dominate.
Exactly.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts. When $100, when you care about $100, you lost. You lost. And if you can get to the point where you don't care about $1,000, imagine how powerful you are.
And the crazy thing about it is with the experience with being in the truck, I was able to go from making 37,000 to 65, 70,000, and seeing how much things really opened up for me by driving a truck. My only issue is I've always had a knack for tinkering with electronics and things of that nature. So that's why
Well, I will give you a little bit of advice on this. It is better to be sustained financially than to go into the job that you really love. It's better to create a business at the job you really love and keep what you hate that's making you money. Here's why. What I found out, everything works in 5 and 10-year cycles. 5 years, 10 years, your life changes. There comes sometimes in your life where things take away your ability to do a certain thing. And God pulls you back to the one thing that protects you. For example, I never thought about being in medical. Never thought about being in medical finance. I accidentally got into this and pretty good at it. How do I protect myself? I went and reinvested in myself, 5 certifications. This is the point. Now I have 2 side businesses online. You see my point? Now I can do these other things and it doesn't hurt me. I'm not putting my eggs in one basket saying, well, I'm gonna do the engineering. No, you do the engineering as a side contractor. You create the trucking in such a way, like another example. You should look at Master P's business model. Let's say, what state do you live in?
I'm in New Jersey, Southern New Jersey.
Okay, Southern New Jersey. Okay, so hypothetically, right now, engineering is all about systems at the end of the day. So as a true engineer, you should be able to unengineer backwards how you can take your trucking element that you do and your knowledge and look at industries that are not being served in Southern New Jersey. For example, you can look at, I'm just going to throw one out there, Craigslist. Who wants to get something from Craigslist, but they have no ability to go get it picked up and brought to their house because it's way on the other side or whatever? As an engineer slash trucking guy, you should be able to create a system of maps, times, and pickup trucks that you can hire 2 people during the day to do nothing but do deliveries for your company. This way, as you move into your engineering thing and away, you now have that residual money rolling in constantly. Or you can keep your tractor thing and just use this as a side item until your engineering really takes off or you get that role. Because the reality is, when it comes to any position, the more you limit yourself to your state, the more you limit your money. So it may be that when you get your degrees for engineering, you may see 100 jobs today as an engineer making 100,000, for example. But that doesn't mean that they're going to be there 5 and 10 years from now. Same way, a person coming out here to San Francisco, you coming out here for tech because you heard people getting all this money, but you don't know if the Indians are going to take everything over to India, and now that's going to be the new Silicon Valley. Oh, they would never do that, Mr. Research. Really? They did that to wafers. They did that to what was it? A telecom. That used to be out here. It got taken away because somebody took it and they used their government money to source it. So Hey, Ramil, I'm full of great ideas, brother. Ramil said that was a good idea. So that's what your challenge is as an engineer, is to re-engineer things in southern New Jersey that are not being served, and then take your extra dollars, 10 G's, 20 G's, and finance yourself a side company while you're doing what you're doing. Because the one thing, Green Machine, we always want to rush. Imagine if you just put in a 10-year plan, like I told one of my Wolf students. Why worry about finishing school in 4 years? Why not do it in 16? He said 16. I said, yeah, you're only no. Listen though. I said, yeah, you're only 23. Shouldn't you be focused on getting money, getting your own place, getting your own car so you can live, as opposed to suffering for 4 years to get a degree and you don't even know if you're going to be able to make the same money that you're making now working 2 jobs? I said, do the math. He said, you know what? You're absolutely right. Now that he's done that, he's made quite a bit of money. That time has passed, 3 years, Green Machine. Now he has an opportunity for having a good bank account. He said, you know what? I'm just going to contact Sub-Zero on YouTube and take his $400 course and just bypass the school stuff. I said, there you go. So there's always things that come about every 5-10 years. Our thing is, are we ready? What are your thoughts, Green Machine?
You have a lot of valid ideas, and that's kind of the thing that I'm doing now is I'm still in the trucking industry. I actually drive for a guy and in my particular area, and I'm never gonna let that license go, because first and foremost, I got it from the state when I lost my job a while back, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. And a lot of us don't realize that these states will pay for education in in-demand jobs. But
There is a garbage man job somewhere looking for your license that pays twice what you're making now. All you have to do is move to it. It's just that easy. People don't get it.
Right. Well, my path is automation. I'm trying to catch that wave. So on the community college level, I'm learning what they call programmable logic controls. Which is in the manufacturing sector, and you pretty much be able to kind of be like a maintenance engineer.
Right. Now, I want you to be aware of something though. It's called ageism. So what happens a lot of times in any tech is a fool's gold illusion. If you're not able to get with a major corporation, I tell people all the time, when you go into any form of tech or tech support, make sure you have some long-term guarantees on paper. Because what you don't want to do is take a position, get told that you're going to make X, and then 3 years later, they've advanced the system and they no longer need your role. So look at it from that standpoint. And then if you go somewhere else, your age may come into play. I try to tell young people all the time, young people try to tell me, well, if you know your stuff, you know the new technology, then you'll be able to get a job. I work with older people. I say, yes, but let's do the math. IBM is no longer in play. What happened to all those employees? Why do you only see young people at tech jobs? What happened to Hewlett Packard? I used to work there in Alpharetta. Where did they go? Where did all the Lucent people go? You see my point? My homeboy works at Lucent. He ain't been able to make as good of money as he made back then yet. So that's my point. My point is make sure that you're always aware. I'm only in this industry, medical, because I can go anywhere with it. My secondary is the hotel industry and the condominium industry. I can go to any country with that. So make sure that when you go into whatever you go into, that there's some level of guarantee so that a human resources person cannot hit you with these magic words. Oh, Green Machine, you're overqualified.
I hear you.
But this H-1 visa guy that just got to the country, he's perfect. And we're gonna train. We're gonna on the job train him too. So, you got a great idea. Just make sure you're constantly protecting yourself from these evil human resources people. Because trust me, man, it's the weirdest thing talking to so many people, man, women too, who just get ostracized now. And they're not even allowed to apply to stuff. It's really tragic. Really tragic. So. All right, sir, I got to get out of here. I have to go to a festival. You guys have fun. Always get out and try to do something with your life, fellas. And like I said, Black Joy Parade, look it up online, Oakland Black Joy Parade. I have donated $1,000 of your money that you've donated to me to the Black Joy Parade. And I'll try to give you some videos of the celebration. Last year they had T-Pain and some other artists and a lot of local stuff, but they take up about 10 city blocks and they have a parade of people just walking down, expressing joy of being Black. Dark-skinned folks like us, Green Machine.
Right.
So it is a good thing. Thank you, sir. Let me get out of here.
Thank you. And until next time.
All right. Peace.
Peace.